want those URLs to remain there for a long time. So now they do expire after 24 hours if you you just got to enable that setting.
Sorry, what is that for the URLs? Like what? How does that
so
work?
when you after the call, you get information. So like the call recording and the logs get stored in the URL, and now that expires after 24 hours if you wanted to. So you do have that ability there if you wanted to expire after 24 hours.
And that's because people were sending that directly to end users?
Some people just don't want that like to just be out there for like security purposes. So they want to have some control over that URL. So like I said, now if you do, and if somehow that URL got out there, it will expire after 24 hours. So nobody will be able to access it. You can obviously still opt out for opt out of sensitive data, but yeah, so it's just another feature there. The other thing, I'm not sure if you guys noticed, we had this deployment now. So that does make it easier for you guys to manage the different versions of agents that you might be having. And I think it's a great feature there. So typically you're gonna have multiple versions of an agent. And now you can go ahead and create versions, or you can go ahead and name these. And the benefit of this, so I'll give it a sample. You can also just select the numbers directly from here as well. But every time you save this and you deploy it, you can always go back to the previous changes. So as you're making and as you're working out your agent, right? Let's say I make another change, whatever. So do that. I'm going to go ahead and save a newer version, and I'm just going to give this a new version number. You can give it a little description there. Now I can deploy this, and you're going to see here in my history, I have those different versions number. You can add a description, and then you could go back to it technically, right? So I can always update the deployment or edit this particular version. So you have that control there, and you can kind of see it changes, right? We have the multiple versions of this agent there, and you can always go back to it. So
if you go back, can you save it as a new one? Do you have
I think you can probably go back and then just create a duplicate of it if you wanted to do it. Yeah.
Okay, so the duplicates will bring over the version history?
Yeah, let's try it. It's a great question. So let's find out. Let me see. Is this the one that I just did? I think it's this one. Okay, so let me make a duplicate of this, and we'll see if those carry over. Okay, so there you go. Actually, you pick the version. So that's a great question. So you pick the version that you want to deploy there. And let me see if I pick the latest one. I'm curious to see if the previous versions are going to be there. Yeah, it's not. So it just makes a copy of that version that you want there.
Perfect. Thank you.
Cool. Any questions on that before we get started here? Nope. All right. So basically what we're going to be doing today is I've noticed a lot of people are having issues, or they want to create an outbound callers, right? So like for campaigns, so you want to be able to initiate this from some Google Sheet. I know last week we worked on using Airtable. This is going to work the same thing, but essentially you might want to create some sort of outbound call using the data from a Google Sheet. So that's what I'm going to be showing you guys today, how we're going to be creating them. Now, I would love to hear how you guys are using it or how you guys are initiating this call. The way we're going to do this is just through a manual trigger, but it can be done all sorts of ways, right? So when you update a new row, all sorts of stuff. So we're going to stick with the whole dental scenarios here, and we're going to be calling for a dental appointment reminder. And we might want to store some sort of information here, like maybe appointment confirmation, whether they're going to come in or not. Yeah, any questions on that, or is anyone, I would love to hear how you guys are using that for outbound calls, if anyone is, or what sort of issues they're experiencing with outbound calls and Google Sheets.
I tested it, and I just set it up so every day at 8 a.m. to start to check the new rows, and then to call these new rows and to update some data.
Okay, perfect. So it's working well for you?
It was working perfectly, yes.
Okay, awesome. Has anyone experienced any sort of issues making it work that's on the call right now? No?
What is interesting for me is maybe to somehow, if we have like a long number of calls that we need to do, and to not to make all calls at once, but to somehow separate them. For example, 10 calls now, 10 calls later, and so on.
Okay, so handling the concurrency limits, essentially.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, that's a good one. So yeah, we can go over that. There's an endpoint that we can use for that. So we can go ahead and give that a try. And then Steve, you got a question there before we get started?
Yeah, so I was doing it, and I know you know, Alex, I know you know. I was doing this process through Make, and now I'm moving over to NN8, and I get a little bit stuck there. So I hope this session also use NN8, and I can take advantage of this session. But also related to the concurrent calls, I'm just going to speak on the Make side. Maybe it's not a problem on NN8. But yeah, so we do on Make like the limit of 20 calls. And then after a minute, do it again. Now, I guess my question is, let's say we do 20 concurrent calls and the automation is launched every minute, because it's not a webhook that we're using. Maybe there's a better way to do this. If it's not a webhook, then you just need to launch it on a time period. Let's say I do 20 calls and 10 calls still are in the call. Will that automation still look for another 20 and then mess up the retail because you already have 10 in use? Or is it going to be smart enough to only choose 10 as there's still 10 ongoing calls from the previous batch? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm going to show you. I get what you're saying. And I think the issue that everyone's having is trying to handle the concurrency in calls, right? Like you want to be able to call as many people as you can. So I get what you're saying. And we're going to be using this get concurrency endpoint here to check when we make the calls. This is going to let us know how many calls are currently happening, and if you can go ahead and make another one, and if you can make it, then you go ahead and do that. And if not, maybe we'll wait a little bit and then make it. There's multiple ways that we can handle this, but we're going to be tapping into this endpoint here, which I think is going to answer your question and Ivana's kind of issue there with the concurrency.
Nice. And everything from NNA?
Yeah, we're always going to use it. I'm not a fan of make.com, just personally.
That's good.
So,
Thanks,
yeah, no worries. So the first thing we're going to do, and look, I have a very simple sheet here. You can see you can have anything, right? But the first thing that we need to do is actually connect our Google Sheet to our N8N instance. So I'm going to walk you through that. It's very, very simple. I'm going to create a new workflow here. I'm just going to call this Retell Google Sheets here as an example. Now the trigger can be multiple things. You can set this up many ways. Here, we're just going to be doing it manually. But like, for example, like Ivana mentioned, you could have it on a time, right? So maybe on a schedule, like every day at 8 a.m., check all the contacts in this list and then call them, right? So there's multiple ways that this can be handled. Here, we're just going to be triggering this manually. But again, many ways you can do this. We're going to click on the plus, and then we're going to go to Google Sheets here. And we're just going to select this get the rows in a sheet. So we're going to click on that. And we need to connect our account. So here I already had one connected, but I'm going to create a new credential, and I'm going to walk you through that process. So when you create a new credential, it's going to take you to a screen that looks like this, asking you for a client ID and a client secret. Now, to get those, we are going to go to cloud, or it's console.cloud, console.cloud.google.com, I believe. There you go. And I'll paste this URL down at the bottom just so you guys, if you guys are following along. And we're going to create a new project. So here I'm just going to create a new project, and I'm just going to call this Retell Google Sheets. You can select your organization and all that stuff. I'm just going to click on Create.
Hey, Alex.
And, yeah, what's up?
You set this up for clients too, yeah? In the same way.
Yep.
Yeah. Thanks.
So I'm going to switch over now that project created. I'm just going to switch over to that project, which is right here. You can see it's Retell Google Sheets. So I'll click on that. And I'm going to, here in the search bar, I want to look up two things. One of them is going to be Sheets. So I'm just going to go Sheets. Okay, there it is. So there's Google Sheets API. I want to click on that. And I want to enable this. we'll wait for this to enable here. Come on. Perfect. So that's enabled. Now, next we need to set up our credentials. Now, I was getting an error without using Google Drive, but I want to show you that just in case this happens to you, you know how to fix it. So the next thing here is we're going to click on our OAuth screen, and then we're going to click on Get Started. And I'm just going to give this application a name. So same thing, I'm just going to call this Retell Sheets as an example. For support email, you can just select whatever support email. That's not really important because like you're not going to be making this application public. This is really going to be more for you or for like your clients. So we're just going to click that. And then for the audience, we're going to click external. And we'll click next. And then for the contact information, same thing. I'm going to select, I'm just going to type my email address there. It's not, again, very important. And I'm going to click agree. And then we're going to click continue. And we're going to go ahead and click on create. Perfect. We're going to click on branding. All of this on branding should be fine. We don't need to add anything else here. If we click on audience, we're going to need to add a test user. This is going to be that email that you're going to be logging in, right? So whatever email your Google Sheet is in. So in my example, it's going to be this hi@arod.rocks. So I'm going to click on test users, and then I'm just going to type that email address right there, and then click save. Perfect. Next, I'm going to go to clients. I'm actually data access here. And in our data access, I'm going to click on add or remove scopes. And here you have all the different scopes provided from Google Sheets. You can choose to disable some of these or not enable them. It's up to you. I can just select all the ones for Google Sheets. Here, I could select all of them if I wanted to. So I'm just going to select the Google Sheets there. And then we're going to click on Update. And then I'm going to click Save down here at the bottom. Are we all good so far?
Do you do this with them together, or you take their email and password?
It depends. Sometimes we can just do it together. It depends how they set up their email. If they have like 2FA or if they have to like click on it. Most of the time we just do it, like we just log in and tell them like, hey, give me the thing. And I don't know if you guys are using, I don't know what browser you guys use, but this is why I like Arc, because in Arc you can create multiple profiles that are independent. They're like multiple containers. So you have multiple clients or you have multiple things. You can just create different spaces and they're completely separate. So this is something else, but yeah. Okay, we're all good so far, right? Steve, you have a question?
Yeah, I guess this is more a question about Google, but I wonder if you have the answer. Is there a difference between connecting to your Google account if it's a personal account versus a business account? Like if using the personal one, that's requiring more permission, like doing these steps is required versus the business account, you don't need to do all this stuff. Is that correct?
No, because you need to create an app to connect to your Google Sheets, whether it's a personal account or a business account. Like mine, for example, the one right now that I'm on, it's like a business account, even though it's a personal email. It's It's
using it like a business license, okay? Because I sometimes have issues logging into the console.cloud.google from a business account. I was wondering maybe because there's a difference. If you're using it, maybe it's an issue on my end only.
Yeah, this is a business account, so I'm logged in. Like, and I added like my billing information. So if this is like the first time signing up, it'll ask you to add your billing information. But yeah, it should work.
All right, thanks, Sam.
Yep, no problem. Okay, so we good. We created our scopes. Next, we're going to click on clients here, and then we're going to click on create a client. And then here, I'm going to click on application type, and I want to select web application. And then here I can give this a name. I'm going to use the same thing, Retell Sheets. And then it's going to ask us for this URI. And this URI, it's coming from N8N. If I take a look here, N8N is providing us with that URL. So I'm just going to click on that. And then I'm going to go back here and I'm going to paste it. Just like that. And then I'm going to click on create. And now this is going to give me a client ID and a client secret. Obviously, don't share this with anyone because then you're gonna be able to access our sheets. So I'm gonna click copy, and then I'm gonna paste that in there. And then same thing with the client secret. So I'm gonna click on that, and then I'm gonna paste that in there. And then it's gonna have this sign in with Google. So you should see that pop up. I'm gonna click sign in, and then we are gonna click on that URL, that email address. I'm gonna select allow, and now it's gonna say it's successful. So then this will redirect me back to my workflow, and you can see it was connected. Now, we can go back to this, and we can select that Google Sheets. So here's the one that I had selected, and I'm trying to get the rows. It's gonna be, the source is gonna be sheets within documents. We wanna get the rows, and then we're gonna click on this. Now, I did this on purpose because like sometimes the documentation, like when we go to the documentation for like Google Sheets, it doesn't say that you need Google Drive, but once you actually try it, that's not the case. So sometimes stuff like this is going to happen. I think it's important, just kind of how to troubleshoot it. So here it's asking us, hey, I need to have access to your Google Drive API also, which we didn't add it, right? But now that's a very, very simple fix, because all we got to do is if we go to our Google, all I got to do is search Drive, and here's Google Drive, or whatever other API, because again, this can happen many times. It might be Google Docs or whatever. All you got to do is just click and enable it. And then once this is enabled, all we got to do is go back to our credentials, actually our OAuth screen here. And then I'm going to click on data access. And then I'm just going to update my scopes. So I'm going to click add or remove scopes. And then I'm just going to view all of them here. You can see I have sheets there, and we should have Drive somewhere down here, Google Drive. So here's all of Google Drive. I'm just going to select this. Just like that. Perfect. And then I'm just going to update them. And I'm just going to save it. And now if we go back, we should be all good. It might take a little bit to refresh here.
Now, Alex, sometimes I noticed there was a pop-up, an error pop-up saying something like this app was not authorized by Google, or something like, what was the word they were using? I forgot what it was. Because you pretty much creating like a new app to work with NN8 and the Google apps. But there was some error that I found. Let me see if I can look it up to give you the exact wording here. But does that ring a bell to you? Like any other thing that you need to do to allow it?
Well, the other thing is the errors, and that's why I did that. The errors that you're typically going to get is related to the permissions or the scopes of the application, which is this. Because what we're doing here is we're establishing a connection between your Google account and the documents within that and N8N,
Exactly.
which is sheets, right? But you need to allow that application to have access to that. And if you don't allow it, then you're going to get some sort of error. Typically, it's going to say like authorization or stuff like that. So I would check your scopes there. Because again, when we take a look at our scopes, there's a bunch of different things that you can do with it. You might have not selected the correct ones. You might be missing some. And if you're in doubt, you can just select all of them. The other thing that I would check is you need to sign in. So after you create your application, when we created our credentials, it asked me to sign in to the email address, right? So you need to make sure that you sign in and then you allow it.
Got it. Understood.
And you see now that, again, now that I fixed, right, I added that Drive API, I just refreshed it, and then here's my dental appointments sheet. So now we were able to get that sheet. Now we have our successful connection there. And then I can just simply select that sheet right there, which is going to be 1. And then I can just simply select this. Now for the filters, and the way that I'm doing it now, you can select, if you were looking for just a specific one, because I want to get all of the contacts, I'm just going to not do any filters. And if I click test, then this is going to give me all of the different contacts that I have in that sheet, which is only It's only 2 of them, but I can add more. So let's just say, I don't know why I'm adding James. I'm not going to fill out the rest of the information, but you can see if I click test, then it gives me that information there. Are we all good so far?
Would you need a filter though? For example, if this is going to be a sheet that your agent is going to call out, do you want to see like label some leads that you already called that person, especially when you have like thousands of leads and you're doing 20 at a time?
You could, yeah. So, and we could add a filter, right? It's up to you. Like, there's many ways to handle it. So, like, the flow that I'm doing, right, it might not necessarily work for you, but hopefully you get some ideas. But for example, we can have different statuses, right? So based on the confirmation. So
yeah.
So maybe we could have like a confirmed status, or then we can have like an unconfirmed status.
Right.
So then we're only going to call the people with unconfirmed, right? That's just as an example.
Yeah.
Something like that. So I'm just going to copy this, just change this really quick. Right, so I just want to copy that. I could use a filter. So now I could just simply search. The column is going to be for the appointment confirmation, and I want to make sure that it's unconfirmed. And if I test this now, it's only going to give me those unconfirmed appointments. So I think that's what you're getting at, right?
Yes, yes, exactly. Thanks, Matt.
Yeah, so and let's just say that. Let's say that we needed to call the unconfirmed appointments, and I'm just going to switch mine to unconfirmed. I don't actually want to call these other people because I don't know these numbers. So, okay. And let me go ahead and test this. So are we all good so far? Any other questions before we move on here? Yeah. Okay, cool. So the next thing is all we've got to do from here is actually initiate our call, right? And then we'll get back to the whole concurrency thing. But let's first initiate our outbound call. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to click the plus. Well, actually, all right, before I even click the plus, I want to loop through these contacts, right? So every single one of these are individual people that I need to call. So I actually want to loop through them and do some certain action with every single one of them. So for that, we're going to click the plus, and we're going to go to data transformation. And I believe that's going to be our, let me see, where is it? I know there's like a loop here. Oh, there it is. Loop over items. So what this is going to do is going to take every single one of these items and it's going to loop through it. So in this example, we're going to be making a call through every single one of them. And let me just double check something here, make sure that is actually correct there, which it should be. Okay, where did I do that? So I'm just checking on something really quick here. Okay, so we're going to select the looped over items, and let's see here. We click test. You can see that this is only going to give us that particular item at a time. So now with this item, we need to do something with it. And I'm going to remove this. And we're going to add a plus because here we're going to do that HTTP request. So we're going to click HTTP and then a request. And what's going to happen, this is going to create the outbound call. So it's going to create a phone call. And the way we're going to create that phone call is by using the API documentation. So we'll go to API, and then we're going to click on create a phone call, and then we're going to click on try it. We need to get our API key. So I'm going to delete this API key here. And I'm going to go back to Retell. I'm going to go to API keys. And for this example, I'm just going to make a new one. So I'll click on add new keys, and I'm going to name this N8N. I click create, and then I'm going to copy this. And then I'm going to go back to the documentation here in Retell. And when I click on try, I'm just going to put that key here. And we're going to do it here first in Retell to essentially build the call that we're going to be making. And then we'll just simply import this into N8N, and you'll see how that works. So from the phone number that we're going to be, this is the number that our phone number from Retell. So I'm going to go back to Retell. I'm going to select my phone numbers, and I'm just going to use this one, the 706. I'll click copy, and I'm just going to paste this. I'm going to paste this in both the from number and the to number. The to number is the client that we want to call, but just you'll see how this will play out here. But I just want to add that data for now. Next, I need to select an agent override. So I need to make an agent for this first, which is going to be our outbound agent. And I'm going to go back to Retell real quick here. I'm going to go to agents, and then I'm going to click on, for now, I'm just going to use a single prompt agent. This could be anything, but for now, I'm just going to use a single prompt. And this is just going to be our appointment confirmation. And then I'm going to paste this prompt in here, which I will paste. I might not paste it. I'll include the document for it. And I'll share this with you guys now so you guys can have it. Okay, cool. We'll just quickly go over this prompt here, but it's just a very simple appointment dental. We're going to be passing a couple of pieces of information for context, which is going to be the patient name. So the patient name is going to be coming from our Google sheet. So first name, actually, let's change this up a little bit. I'm only using the first name. So I'm going to name this first name, and it's up to you how you want to handle it. I'm just going to say first. Can't spell first. Okay, first name, and then we can do last name as well. You could just do like one full name. Again, it depends how you split your data. I like to separate it, so I'm just going to do last name, and then we're confirming the appointment reason, which is also coming from our Google Sheets, and then the date and time, and then for the agent, so that it has context, I'm basically telling it what time it is now. And of course, the goal is to confirm the user is going to be able to attend their upcoming appointment. The rest is pretty standard. And then our task is introduce yourself, verify that the user is the patient name. Actually, want to use the first name. I'm just going to use the first name here. And then once we verify or we don't verify, we're going to let them know about their upcoming appointment, when that is, the reason, and then we want it to confirm or not confirm. And then if they confirm, then we can extract that data, and then we'll update our Google Sheet. So let me just update this really quick here. And I'm going to just paste this back in here, just like that. Perfect. I'm going to click Save. For our welcome message, I'm going to use this message there, and I'll define it. So I'm going to say, hi, this is, I forget what I call this, Kate. Something like that. For the functions, I'm just going to add our end call to end the call. And then here I'm just going to pick for one, just because try out the new model, why not? For my voice, you can pick any. I like Susan, so I'm going to go with Susan there. And what else do we need here? That should allow us to trigger our outbound call. I'm going to select my agent ID from here. I'll just click copy, and then I'm going to go back to my create a phone call, and then I'm going to paste that agent override ID right there. And then we need to create those dynamic variables. So I'm going to click on add property, and I need to create the exact same variables that I made here. So we have our patient first name, we have our patient last name. So I just want to quickly create those. And I'm just going to put this side by side really quick here, just so we can kind of see. So I'll click on add new property. I'll paste that in there. It's going to ask me to put something in here, and I'm just going to put like dummy data for now. We're going to switch this, but it's kind of a placeholder. I'm going to do my last name there, patient last name. Same thing, enter. I'll fill this out. I'm going to do another property for the appointment reason. And also for the appointment date. Perfect. And those are going to be all the dynamic variables we're going to need. I'm going to separate these back. I'm just going to, again, put dummy data in there for now. And that looks good. Any questions on this so far? No? Everyone good? Okay. So now all I'm going to do is I'm going to click on curl, and I'm just going to import this. So I'm going to click on curl here. I'm going to just copy this, and then I'm going to go back to my N8N. And then here, I'm going to click import from curl. I'm just going to paste that in there, and then we're going to click import. So this is going to fill this out for me. And you can see we have our from number, our to number, but we got to replace this to number. I'm going to click on expression just so I can switch it over. And this to number, we want this to be the customer's number. So I'm going to get rid of that. Now, we do need to have this little +1. So I left the +1, and all I'm going to do is get the phone number and then just drag it just like that. And you can see this gives you a preview down there. So it's going to be the plus. And then we need to replace these variables. So that's going to be the first name. I'm just going to grab the first name here, just drag it between that. Same thing with last name. Oops. And then we have our appointment reason. And then our appointment date here. And then we can check down here just to make sure that everything looks good. So the phone number, everything looks good. Perfect. So now if I test this, it's going to make an outbound call to me. But before I test it, I'm going to go back. And in my Retell, I want to be able to extract the status, right? So did they confirm the appointment or not confirm the appointment? So I'm going to click on the post-call analysis. I'm going to click on retrieve data, and then we're going to do a selector. And then appointment confirmation. I'm just going to call this appointment confirmation. Okay, I didn't spell appointment right. Just like that. And then we're going to add choices. And the choices are going to come from basically from the choices that we picked here. So it's either going to be unconfirmed or confirmed. Go back to Retell. So we're going to have confirmed and then unconfirmed. Something like that. And then we're just going to click on save. And then since we're going to want to extract that data, we're going to want to set up a webhook here for our agent level webhook. This is just going to get the data after we make the phone call. That way we can go ahead and update our Google Sheet. So I'm going to go back to N8N really quick here. I'm just going to save this for now. And I'm actually going to make another workflow. And click create workflow. And this is going to be a webhook. So it's going to be a webhook. I'm going to change this to a post webhook. I'm going to get my production URL. So I'm just going to copy this. And for now, all I'm going to do is activate it and save it. So it's already saved. And I'm just going to add this just here for now. Just like that. And perfect. We should be good. I can deploy this. So I'm just going to give this a version here. And I'm going to deploy this. And that's pretty much it. Any questions, concerns on that? Okay, so we're all good so far. Perfect. So now I'm going to go back to Retell. Now what's going to happen here is this, and if you've never used the loop items here, if you never use this loop setting here in N8N, basically what happens is here I have this particular item, right? So it's going to go through every single one of them, and it's going to put them through whatever process you put here. At the end of the process, you need to return them back here. So you need to make a little connection, and that's essentially what we're doing from here, right? After the phone call is made, in this example, all it's going to do is going to go back to loop over items. It's going to get the second one, so this one here, and then it's going to call, and then I'll continue to do that for every single one of them. Before we make the call, I'm just going to delete these right here because it's, I don't know whose numbers these are actually, so I don't want to necessarily call them. And maybe I'll just put my number here just so we can have two of them. Cool. And then I'm just going to go back here just so I can refresh the sheet there. Perfect. We'll go ahead and loop over our items, and it's going to give me the first one. Now if I click test, you can see that the phone call was initiated, and then I should get a phone call right now, which I do. Let's listen.
Hey, this is Kate from Retell Dental. How are you?
I'm good, and you?
I'm doing well, thanks for asking. Am I speaking with Alex Rodriguez?
Yes.
Great, thanks for confirming, Alex. I'm just calling to remind you about your upcoming dental checkup and cleaning on Saturday, April 19th, 2025. Will you be able to make it to your appointment?
Yes, I will.
Awesome, thanks for letting me know. Just a quick reminder, please try to arrive about 15 minutes early and avoid eating or drinking anything for 2 hours before your appointment. Do you have any questions about your visit?
No, I don't. Hello? All right. So maybe we gotta improve the way she handles ending up.
Alex,
Yeah, what's up?
do you say that you're recording?
To the client, it depends. Some people want to say that they're recording, some people don't. It depends.
So if client says,
Yeah, some have
okay.
requirements that they want to say. Some people say like, hey, if they ask you if you're AI, don't lie, say yes. Some people wanted to hide the fact. It varies.
Okay.
But there you have it, right? So we successfully created the outbound call. Now, I'm going to do it like we're going to test this live, and we're going to press it, and it's technically going to call me twice. But before we do that, I'm going to go back to the other workflow, because if we take a look at our executions, we want to know if that call was successful or not, right? So here we're going to have our 3 events, which is going to be call started. And I think to your point, Steve, you had sent me an email. This is the event that you can use to update when the call was started. But here we take a look at the last one. Well, the second one is called ended, if you didn't know. And then the last one is going to be our analyzed. So here on call analyze, this is where we're gonna extract the information, whether the appointment was booked or not. So if I scroll all the way down, I'm just gonna minimize this. Minimize this too. Here, you can see that we have this custom analyzed data, and then we have the status of the appointment. It's confirmed, right? So this came from here, post call analysis. It has the exact same name, and we limited it to only these 2 choices. That's where these choices are coming from. It's either confirmed or unconfirmed. It can be nothing else. And you can see here, we have confirmed. So now we could actually update this Google Sheet from here, right? So if we wanted to do that, on this data, I'm gonna click copy to editor just so that we can actually use it and play with it. So I'm gonna click copy to editor, and then now it's gonna be here for me to use. And now that the call is made, I wanna update the Google Sheet. So I'm gonna click this plus, I'll click my Google Sheets again. And then now we want to update a row. So I'm gonna click update. I'm gonna select my credentials, which should already be there. And then I wanna select the sheet, so there's that. And then I'm gonna select the list. And then we wanna map, so we wanna map that. So we wanna use the phone number. So if we scroll down here, we should still have the phone number. Let me scroll down. So here's the phone number. Oh, but let me see. This one has a +1, which the one doesn't have a +1. Okay, so that's something I gotta handle. Well, we can try it though. This is a 2 number.
Alex, I'm not sure if somebody already asked you this, but are you sharing this video later, the recorded video?
Yeah, we should be. It should be recorded.
Yeah, I think it is. I think I see the recorded signal.
I think
Yeah,
it's
you
on
are.
Okay, yeah, it is cool. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
awesome.
it should be. I don't technically have control over the Google, so it doesn't come to me. But yes, we will be sharing it.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem.
I have a question regarding number. Do you need this plus before or not?
When making up the outbound call,
Yeah.
I believe so. We can certainly test it without it, but I believe you do need it. Because when we go here and we go to our just outbound or inbound webhooks, the way that it's coming in, it has a plus. We can try without it and see if it works.
Oh, okay.
Good
So
question.
you always need country code before that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you always need the plus there, which is
Yeah.
one of the things that we're going to come across right now, right? Which we would have to handle a little, perhaps a little more graceful here. But the columns to match first, I actually want to match the phone number. So I'm going to be using the phone number to match. Now, you can see right now what's going to happen is it has a +1, so I don't think it's actually going to find it. Let's see. It's not, because there's that +1, so we need to get rid of that +1. Okay, so we can get rid of that +1, and that can be as simple as, this is definitely an overkill. Actually, you know what, because that's going to be too much. I don't like doing that. So we're going to do this really quick here. In this call, I'm going to add another dynamic variable, and I'm just going to pass the phone number or the metadata. That's actually another thing that you can do. That's actually, I'm gonna make a couple of adjustments here really quick, guys. In our create a phone call, back to the same thing that we did, you can also add metadata. This is super useful if you guys have a contact ID, right? A contact ID, or if you're pulling them from Salesforce, from high level, from whatever. Sometimes you need to have access to that information down the line. So that's what we want here. And I'm just going to put user phone, but this could be like a contact ID. It could be anything like that for you. So all I'm going to do is at user phone, I'm going to click the plus, and then I'm just going to type shenanigans just for now. And the same thing, you can go ahead and import the curl. I'm not going to import it again because I already did. So I'm just going to copy this. And then in Retell, in this, I'm going to edit it. I'm just going to add a little comma there, and then I'll paste this down below. So now we have our metadata. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to store the phone number as part of that metadata. Just like that. I'm going to grab the phone and put it here, because I'm going to use this to search for the contact later on. So hopefully this makes sense. This could be anything. I typically put like a contact ID or some sort of identifier in here. Does this make sense while I'm putting this in here? Just want to make sure. Okay. So now I'm going to make it one more call, and then we're going to go through that so that this gets updated. So I'm going to test this. I'll just quickly go through this.
Sorry to interrupt you, but we can also do this through formula. I pasted it here in chat, so you can just crop that plus if you want with a slice.
There you go. So we could do that, absolutely. And I can show you how that could work too. The only reason that I did it this way, there's multiple ways, but typically you do need some sort of contact. And I'm just showing that you can store it in the metadata, but absolutely. And thank you for doing that, because we absolutely can do that. So here I'm just going to call myself really quick. I'll just quickly go through this. Look.
Hi, this is Kate from Retell Dental. How are you?
I'm good, Kate. I am going to be able to attend the appointment. You can confirm it.
That's great to hear, Alex. I've got you down for your dental checkup and cleaning on Saturday, April 19th, 2025. Please try to arrive about 15 minutes early and don't eat or drink anything for 2 hours before your appointment. Do you have any questions about your visit?
Nope, thanks.
You're all set, Alex. Thanks for confirming. Have a great day, and we'll see you soon.
Okay, perfect. So this should be the last event here. And if we take, oh, no, it's this one here. Then we have our call analyze, and then we should have metadata in here that we can use. So we should have, if we scroll down here, we should have metadata. Metadata, there's the user phone number. Again, this could be contact ID or anything else. So I'm just going to copy that to the editor. And now I'm going to use that to search for that. So I'm going to delete this. And then we are going to scroll down and use the metadata, basically. Did I lose that? Where's metadata? Oh, okay. Oh, no, that's not it. See, where is it? I can't find it. Give me a second, because now I'm not seeing my metadata.
You should be able to search for the variable name at the top there.
Yeah, but did it not go through? What's up with that?
I think it works better if you're on schema or two table.
That is interesting. It didn't pass my metadata. Hold on, sorry, because it shouldn't be like that. Let me just check something really quick here. It's passed here. Okay, yeah, it should be there for sure. So I think maybe I copied it wrong. Let's see.
Alex, if you're searching the N8N data, it's usually better on the table and schema.
Yeah, I found it. Sorry, I forgot to copy it wasn't coming in correctly. I don't think I updated it correctly, but it's here now. So it's right here, metadata. So I'm just going to use that phone number to match, just like that. And then we're going to be updating the appointment confirmation, which that we're going to be getting from appointment confirmation right here. Just like that. And then if we test this, that should have updated. It found the row. And then if we go back, confirmed. Are we good so far on that? Oh, sorry, got a little confusing there. Yeah, cool. So now we have our post call analysis, which this is going to update the call for us every single time. I can go ahead and click on save this. And then back in this workflow, what's going to happen is after the phone call, it's just going to loop, and then it's going to loop over to the next item. So I can click on save. Why is this not letting me save it? Okay, because it's a manual one. So it's not going to let me save it because it's just a manual trigger. But essentially this would just continue to loop over all of the other ones there. Any questions, concerns? No?
Not related, but until I'll probably forget. What voice was that again?
The voice, Susanna, I think that's her name. Yeah. Okay. So now the next thing that we want to do is, okay, you got a question, Fabrizio?
Yeah, here we are doing the outbound calls. How would you log, how would you debug these calls? Do you check always the call history in Retell and check if everything went wrong and where it went wrong? Are there any kind of other logs? How do you debug stuff? Because if you set these to, I don't know, to start at 8 a.m. every morning, and maybe during the morning you want to know if anything went wrong, and so where would you check?
You can check in multiple places. So one could be after this call is initiated, right? So let's say here, you could get an error when we're initiating the call right at the start. So let's pretend that I don't know, I didn't write the proper API key, or maybe I'm missing some sort of piece of information, right? And if I click test, I'm going to get some sort of error here, which I can output. So I can always output this data. And what's going to happen is I'm going to we can continue just like that. And you can see that this is going to give me an error, which then I can use to do some sort of other action. And I already forgot what my API key was. Let's see if I test this again. We should be good. Let's say that I maybe deleted the agent number. See that? You can see that it gives me different statuses. So then you can plan for that. So what I would do, I could create something like a switch node in here. And there's multiple ways, but again, I could create some sort of switch node that looks for these error messages. And then depending based on that error message, I can take some sort of action. For example, if I know that it's a 404, typically means that the agent is not there. So maybe I can use another agent and then make the phone call again. If it's like that error that I showed you, it's like that 501, or I think what it was, 505 or something like that. If it's that type of error, then I know my API keys are incorrect, and then I can do something from that. Does that make sense?
Oh, yes, because they are always webhooks in an external service. So obviously the logs, maybe, I don't know, I'm in Vercel or in my custom server, and obviously I have to check my logs because, yeah, it's not in Retell AI. But
these,
okay, I
these
get
Retell AI. These you are getting, because we're making a request to Retell AI, and they're going to give us a status. And based on that status, we can do something. Right? They're giving me back the status. Either the status is it worked, right? So I'm going to call this. You can see that it gave me a registered status. The call was registered and it went out.
Oh, okay.
So you can use that, right? So now it's calling me, and I'm going to hang up. But if it's not, you're going to get some sort of other error, which could be, like I said, maybe you have the wrong API key. You're going to get a 500 error, stuff like that. So that's going to be one place right after the call is initiated. But the other place where you're going to want to check is going to be in that post-call analysis. So if I look at my executions, and if I take a look at the last call, you can actually use all of these. You can use the call started, right? So you can check the call started, and you could see, let's see, so the call started, I don't think I have a status on this. The call status is just ongoing. And if I check the call ended, this gives me some other information, which is going to be, actually, I think the analysis is the best one. If I take a look at the analysis, then this is going to give me a call ended, but why did it end? Let's see. So user hang up, right? So then you can use this also to do something else. Maybe you want to check after, like, did they even talk? Did the agent even talk to the person, right? You could use like these disconnection resets to do something.
Yep.
So hopefully that makes sense.
All right, thanks.
Yep, no problem. Ivana, you have a question?
Yes, so if the agent calls you and you don't answer, are we still getting this kind of call analysis or not?
Yeah, you will always get that.
Okay, so
You're
but
always
it
gonna get that.
goes there hang up, right? If I understood correctly.
Yeah, like right now it is. I did user hang up because I just forwarded the call. It's my execution. What happened to it?
Because you didn't even talk to it, but it says user hang up. But user hangs up also comes when you had actually a conversation with an agent and you hang up. Right?
Yeah, and on this one, because technically like connected to my voicemail, like I said, I forwarded to voicemail essentially.
Okay.
So I get what you're saying, and I think it's gonna have to be a combination of that for sure. You can see that the call successful was false, so then you can use this user hang up in combination with the call successful. Also, you can see that this one in voicemail is true. So this one went to voicemail, so then you could do something with that there as well.
Yep. Okay, great. Thank you.
Yep, no problem. Any other questions, concerns, guys? No, we're all good so far? Okay. The next thing that I want to go over.
Question, Alex.
Yeah, what's up, Billy?
So this process that you're creating, do you just duplicate the workflow or the NAN for each agent that you call, or that you want calling different leads?
I would duplicate the workflow for the different sheets.
The different sheets here.
Yeah, not for the agent, because technically you can return multiple agents. Doesn't always have to be the same one. So I would do it for the sheets.
Okay, so each sheet has its own agent. I'm sorry, each sheet has its own NAN workflow.
Yeah. You could use, if the sheets are similar, I mean, I don't see where that, technically for each sheet, you're gonna need 2 workflows, right? You're gonna need one to initiate the calls, but then you're gonna need one to analyze the calls afterwards. Like what happened after the call, because you might need to update that data on your Google Sheet after the call.
Got it. And with the analyzing, can that all be done inside of Go High Level systems, or would you recommend using Google Sheets or something to keep it?
You can do it all in Google Sheets. I mean, in high level as well. It's the same concept in high level. The only thing is, like, I like to use NAN because, for example, to Ivana's point, sometimes you need to analyze the transcript, and then you can use like an NAN agent to analyze the transcript and get more information or get confirmation on something happened, versus if you just send it to here. Let me see here. Do I have a outbound call analysis? Sorry, let me just, I'll show you really quick. It's super simple and Go High Level as well. Sorry, this is taking forever now. So here in our post-call analysis, I believe this is it. Same exact concept in Go High Level. It still applies. You're still listening for an inbound webhook. Here, you can see high level is always going to be sending you the 3 of them, so like one after another. So you need to make sure that you select the correct one. And then you're just checking, same concept. It's like, is the call status, well, here I'm checking if it was transferred or ended, but you could check for if it was a call, let me see, if it was a call analysis or like the type of event. I'm not sure if I'm making sense.
Yeah, I've got questions around that part, but I'll continue to watch.
Well, what questions do you have?
Because like I'm using that now when the call is analyzed, but when I have a call that is, let's say, failed because it didn't book an appointment, but it did have a conversation, I guess what I'm trying to figure out is how do I get those calls where it didn't analyze to go to an appointment, but it just analyzed the call, and I didn't know if I need to do something outside of high level.
So you can still do it, but you would, yeah, you would.
Okay,
Here in Retell,
yeah.
Use the pulse call data retrieval. So then I would create some sort of custom variable that tells me whether the appointment was confirmed or unconfirmed, which is what we're doing here.
Okay, got it.
Is that what you wanted to know, right? Like,
yeah, it's on that same line, but I may just shoot you an email on it if necessary.
Yeah, not a problem. Yeah, so again, create some sort of variable there. But yeah, any other questions? No, we're all good? Okay. So the next thing on here that we want to do is, because we're going to be looping through all these calls, right? We might not be able to make the call at the same, like we might have a concurrency limit, or we might have to hit certain issues. So before we make the call, we actually want to check the status of our account. So we want to check the concurrency limit. So I'm going to click this plus. We're going to add another HTTP request. And this is going to be to get concurrency. I don't know how to spell concurrency. And if we go back to Retell, I'm going to go to the API references, and I'm going to scroll all the way down here to get the concurrency. And I want to do a couple of things. So I'm going to click on try it, and I'm just going to put my API key, which this should be the same API key. Let's see if I test this. Okay, so you can see that when I test this, this is giving me a status, which is, this is what I can use, right? And before I do that, all I'm going to do is import it. So I'm going to click curl. I'm going to click copy. I'm going to go back to N8N, and I'm going to click import from curl. I'm going to delete that, and I'll paste this in here. Import it. I don't need to do anything else. All I'm going to do is test. And you can see that the current concurrency is 1, right? I mean 0, sorry, not 1. And I'm going to make a call to one of my agents in one of the accounts, just so that we can test it out, and then we can see what's happening, what sort of data we get. So I'm just going to call, I don't know, one of them here, doesn't matter which. Okay, so I'm making a call. Let's see.
Hi, Alex.
Okay.
Thank you for calling Retell Dental.
And we don't need to listen to the call, but you can see I'm on the phone right now, and this changed, right? So this is what we're going to be using, and I'm going to hang up now. We'll test this. You can see it updated. So this is what we're going to be using to check if we can continue to make calls, right? I think this is what Ivana was just talking about, and I think maybe what Steve had concerns about. Hopefully it is. So we want to check that the concurrency, that we can make this call. So I'm going to add, let's see, we can do an if. So we can do if, and again, guys, there's going to be multiple ways to handle this, but I'm going to use an if statement, and I want to check the current concurrency, and I want to make sure that this is going to be a number and that it's equal or less, right? So that it's equal or less than 20. And I'm going to click test. I'm just going to title this less than 20, or whatever concurrency you are. I only have 20 on mine, so whatever concurrency you have, I'm going to click test, and of course it's going to come back true because it is less than 20. And because it's going to come back true, now I can actually make that phone call, right? So now I can go ahead and make that phone call. I'm going to get rid of this switch state just because I don't need it at this time. Now I can actually make that phone call. Now, if it's not less than 20, right, we might want to do something else. And this is where we have to get a little creative here, because if it's not less or equal to 20, right, so it's greater than 20, then we need to do something else, which might be wait a little bit. So we could do something like wait, depending on the amount of calls or the duration of the calls, we can wait. Maybe we're going to wait like 3 minutes. We do like wait 3 minutes. And again, you guys can get super complicated on this, but let's say we want to wait 3 minutes, and then we might want to check the concurrency again to make sure that it's less than 20. So I could, for example, duplicate this. And after 3 minutes, I might want to, again, check the concurrency, make sure that it's less than 20. And then we would kind of go back through this. Actually, you know what? I can just get rid of that because I can just loop it back here. So after 3 minutes, I can just say, hey, check the concurrency again. Is it less than 20? If it is, make the call. If it's not, wait 3 minutes, check again. and then we're just going to continue. We're just basically going to be looping through this whole process. Does that make sense?
Yes, perfect. Thank you very much, Alex.
Okay. And again, you guys can get as complicated as you want in terms of like the different checks that you guys are doing, but that's theoretically how it would work. And that's how we would use that get concurrency to do that. Any questions on any of that?
It's very simple, but I just don't understand how AI knows which number was called and that it doesn't repeat again, you know?
Oh, well, because it's looping through them. So the way this loop works, you can see it's like we have 2 items in this thing. It could be 100 items. It could be 1,000,000. It doesn't matter. But it's gonna take every single one of them and do these actions that you put in here.
Yeah, if you get concurrent call 20, it still would know, or?
Yeah, right here we're checking concurrency. So let's say that it's 21, right?
Yeah.
It's gonna fail. It's gonna say it's not less than 20 or equal, so you failed. So it's gonna go to the false. And then we're gonna wait 3 minutes or whatever that may be, right? We're gonna wait 3 minutes because we know that our calls are typically only last 2 minutes. So therefore, roughly in about 3 minutes, we should have some freedom, right? Or something. So after the 3 minutes, it's then going to check again. And then if it's same concept, if it's still not 20, it will still wait another 3 minutes and check again until it's true, until it's 20 or less.
Yeah.
Then it's going to make the phone call. And then once it makes the phone call, it's going to end, and then it's going to go to the next one. I'll go to the next item in the row, in the sheet.
It only
makes
reads
sense.
one at a time, Elvis.
It's only, yeah, exactly. It's
One
doing
at
one
a
at
time, yeah.
Hey,
but it's
Alex,
happening. What's up, Ivan?
what about a time, right? So let's say you want to call them, because I'd imagine this thing goes, let's say at 9 p.m., right? Or whatever, past the time frame. We'd want to probably kick them out.
You could. This one here, I'm triggering it, like, again, just manually.
Oh, you
but
are.
yeah, this one's just triggering manually, but like, you could trigger it on a schedule, right? You could do a schedule. I think that's what Imana was doing. So you can trigger it every day between certain hours. So you can add those rules there if you want to. Is that what you were asking about, Ivan? I'm not sure.
Yep. I just, yeah, because otherwise, like say you had 1 million people on there, right? So this thing would be calling 24 hours a day, basically, as it's at 20 at a time till, or whoever's in the loop.
Yeah, exactly. Whoever's in the loop is going to call it, right? So yeah, exactly. And you might want to add some of those checks.
Yeah, you can build in a get time and then do another wait until the next day, because the wait you can actually select a time as well. So
Yeah.
then it could loop itself until that time hit again.
Yeah, you absolutely can do that. And there's, like I said, guys, there's so many ways to handle this. If there's any particular issue you guys are facing, we can certainly go over it. But you could even do it where the trigger is every single time you add a new row in the sheet, right? So why am I searching triggers? So if I go to Sheets and then I go on Triggers, anytime I add a new row, you can do that. So that can even be the trigger itself. So every time I add a new row, obviously we don't have to check for that, but then we can just call it and loop through it and go through all that. There's many ways to handle that.
But if someone didn't answer the phone, what then?
If someone didn't answer the phone, well, it depends on you. Like, do you want to call them back again? Like, how soon do you want to call them back? So like how soon do you want to call them back? They don't answer the phone. How soon should the agent call back?
Next day.
Next day. Okay, so then just trigger this every 24 hours. So then this is going to be on schedule. It's going to run every single day. And it's going to be triggered. Maybe we want to do it at 8 a.m. Every time at 8 a.m. we want to trigger this.
But you're going to need to identify the ones that didn't pick up versus the ones that picked up. So you'd want to do like a database, yeah.
So remember, because what we have here is, and I'm going to use a trigger, right? Let's say that we're going to call them. every day at 8 a.m., we are going to check Google Sheets, and we are going to check for only the people that have an appointment that's unconfirmed,
Oh, yeah.
right? So if we look at our Google Sheets, unconfirmed, and this is only going to change based on our post-call analysis, which we did here. So this is a post-call analysis. After we received the call, what happened with the call? Was the appointment booked? Was it not booked? Did we have some sort of issue, right? We're extracting that information here. So in this instance, we know that the appointment was confirmed. We're getting a status as confirmed. In what you're saying, Albus, you would get a status that says unconfirmed, right? Or appointment not booked, whatever you want to call it. And if that happens, then that's going to be updated in the Google Sheet here. And because it's going to say unconfirmed, the next day, they're automatically going to get a call. And this will continue forever and ever and ever until it shows confirmed or whatever else you want.
But it would be
Yeah,
what
this is
happens.
great,
They're like,
man.
I don't want to. They're like, I don't want a appointment, or I don't want to set one up, and then it's going to call them again tomorrow.
Yeah, and again, you have to take that into account, right? So maybe this appointment, maybe we need to have some other status, right?
Yeah.
On here, you can have as many status, right? Maybe the person says, hey, I'm no longer interested. So you
Yep.
can just put no longer interested and then just filter for this.
There you go.
Right, so you could add a no longer interested or don't call me, right? If you're using this for like lead qualification, maybe you want to put, a D&D, do not contact, or whatever other status you can use.
Amount of times called too, you can probably
Yeah,
track.
exactly. Yeah, right. Maybe, and that's a good one. Maybe you have amount of times called.
So if you want the lead called multiple times in a day, would you just have to set up a different webhook?
Yeah, well, let's see. If you want the lead called multiple times a day, here, let me see the schedule one. Let me see what other rows can I add. So you can add multiple here, right? So we want to call them, let's say, every single day at 8 a.m. And then maybe we're going to call them again, I don't know, 11 a.m., right? And then we want this to run again at, I don't know, 4 p.m.
Mhm.
So now this action is going to happen 8 a.m., 11 a.m., 4 p.m. It's going to call everyone in the sheet that has unconfirmed as status or whatever that is for you. Or it could be,
okay.
right? So it could be like, hey, this person has been called 10 times, right? And then here, when you're checking your Google Sheet, because this is the filter, right? You could put, okay, I want you to check the appointment confirmation is unconfirmed. And I also want you to check the status or the amount of times called. And it needs to be, I don't know, 10 or whatever that may be for you. And we can filter. Actually, we don't want to do that. We don't want to do this because this doesn't work like that. So let's take that example. We want it to be, actually,
You can do the same thing there, Alex. And then once you get your test, you'll pull back the number of times called, and you can do an if statement next after that.
Yeah, you could do an if statement, but I was also thinking, because you do have an expression. So maybe we could use that expression value. I'm thinking we can probably use an expression, but not to complicate it. You're absolutely right. Let me update this Google Sheet here real quick here. So let's say we have 10 and we have 5. I'm going to test this again. So there's the times call, right? I could do that. I could do like some sort of if, right? Where I'm going to get the amount of times called, and I want to make sure that this is less than 10, whatever. So less than 9 times, right? So less than or equal to, let's just say 8 times. And if it is, if it's lesser, it's going to call. And if it's not going to call, right? So we can test this. We're going to see that this one is going to pass because it's less than 8. And then one of them failed because it's greater than 8. So the one that, for example, failed, we don't have to do anything with it. We can just let it not do anything. Like, okay, cool. Maybe we want to update our Google Sheet or do something else. But the one that did pass, then go ahead and make the phone call. Then do everything else.
Yeah, another cool thing you could do is add another status, like you call them in the morning, one in the afternoon, one in the evening, and then it'll rotate through them too.
Yeah, exactly. And you can get real creative like that.
Yeah.
You absolutely can do that. Yeah, this I know this is like this varies so much, guys, because it like depends on exactly how your system and process is. But hopefully you guys at least understand the concept. Any questions, concerns? No, no one.
Crickets, huh?
Yeah, crickets. Everyone gets it. Perfect. Excellent.
Are you gonna stick around after this for just a couple questions, Alex?
Yeah. I mean, I'm here. You guys ask away. I don't know if I can show you guys something else if there is something else you want me to show you. But like I said, I don't know what your exact workflow is, so I was just kind of.
So I'll ask the question because this is something that I'm really interested in. So I had built a workflow on GHL trying to figure out how to get the system to move to make a call on an initial lead and then have it call multiple times and trying to use a tag to move it through the opportunities. What you're saying is I could start almost from scratch. I could start from scratch, build the attempts to call and when to call off of one webhook.
Yeah.
Because I was trying to do it where it would call, say, I don't know, 12 times, 10 times over like 12 days or 12 times over 10 days. But you're saying I could just build the schedule for that webhook to fire off of this schedule trigger.
You could, but if you're using high level, you could also just do it in high level. I mean,
Well,
I would
that's
argue.
where I was doing it, but the workflow just seemed like it was getting really, really long.
Oh, well, yeah. It will get, yeah, exactly. It will get long because you're like putting it like that.
Right, because you're like just creating a step, then repeating the step, creating it. But would you say it's easier to set up with the NAN? Because what you just showed me on the schedule trigger, I didn't even know you could do that.
Yeah, I think it's easier. Again, I think it depends on the workflow, but I think this is easier, like to your point, versus having like a 12, like broken it down. However, though, I would also argue on the high level, that does give you finer control if you did want to do some other actions. But if it's going to be the same action, just like at different hours, to me, this is much easier.
So I was trying to trigger it for the phone calls, and then I was going to back it up where it didn't, if they didn't answer, was have a SMS message go out.
You see, so like in that instance, for example, GHL might be a little bit better right there. Also because in GHL, you can use trigger links. So like if you did have a link and they didn't click on it, maybe you want to make a phone call or you want to do something else.
Okay, so this is for the fundamental, for the functionality of just making the phone calls. I could set it up here.
Yeah, you can set it up here, right? Technically, you could also check, like here we're checking Google Sheets, but you could just be checking every single contact. It's like, does contact have number of calls that's greater than 10? Does contact have unconfirmed or whatever? And you can just check instead of Google Sheets.
Okay.
The other thing you can do is, I mean, if that phone call doesn't go in or go through, I mean, you can add a tag which will fire a SMS or whatever you want in. So you can do a mix. So you got workflows here and there.
Yeah.
There's so many options. You can do it all in here too.
Consolidate this stuff. It's starting to get like a little bit much. I mean, I've been using the NAN, but I've been using high level, and then I had make, and so I'm trying to consolidate to make this just easier to manage.
Totally get you, man.
There are ways you can make it a little bit easier. Like obviously, if you use one platform, it's going to be easier for you to manage. There's a dirty way you can do it in here too. Like you can actually add multiple incoming webhooks in one workflow. Like when you look at your executions, you can see it all in one space.
Oh wow.
So let's say you had the end webhook that Alex had on that other one, where it gets 3 nodes in it or whatever. You could look at that last one to see if they answered or not, and if not, you can use a Twilio node in N8N to send a text as well. So like the options are limited, it's unlimited because N8N is so powerful. I honestly think that doing something in Make and N8N and in GHL, like you're gonna lose context of what's doing what.
Correct. One last question I have is because I'm using the third party company, what is it, MySim, which is the
Yeah.
GHL. So is there a way for me to send text messages through that with NAN?
Yeah, send a tag over or whatever you're going to have to shoot like an API call over to
Yeah,
DHL.
exactly.
And
What
then-
Ivan said.
Yep.
Okay.
You guys are all GHL hardcore users, eh?
Oh yeah, pretty
Oh,
hardcore.
yeah.
Real
Yeah.
hard.
We've been using it for a long
I
time. I've been
mean,
using
I'm trying to unlearn so I can learn this NAN, but I was going hard on GHL.
Yeah.
Alex, if you have time for a completely different random question.
Yeah, hold on
Um,
before.
okay, sure.
Sorry, Tony. Jennifer had her hand up. So Jennifer,
Oh,
you got
sorry.
a question?
Oh, okay. So, hi, Alex. I'm actually really new to this, so I'm trying to set up something for my agency, like an agent that will call the leads on my Google Sheet, like cold call them and try to sell my services to them. Can you show me how to do that?
I mean, I assume you joined the workshop late, but that's kind of what we were going over. We will have a replay over this, but this is what is essentially you have, right? Like you have a Google Sheet here with all your leads, something like this, and then you wanted to be able to call them through here, right? Whatever phone number that they have. So that's what this workflow does and goes through, which I can easily share with you guys if you like. It's not a problem. This workflow here, the way it's set up, it's like every day at 8 a.m., 11 a.m., and 4 p.m., it's going to go through this Google Sheet. So in your case, it's going to be all of your leads, right? And at that time, it's going to then find the leads that have unconfirmed appointment confirmation. For you, it might be like leads that you haven't called. That can be a status, right? Not called can be a status. And then it's going to basically call every single one of those leads. Now, before we call those leads, we're going to check the concurrency in your account because every retail account has a concurrency limit. You can increase this as much as you want, but typically you start with 20. So that means you can only make 20 calls at a time. So we check that you're able to make a call, right? That you haven't met your concurrency limit. And if you have met it, then we're going to wait 3 minutes and then check again. But if not, then we're going to make the phone call, which is done through here. And then you do this for every single one of those rows in your Google Sheet.
Okay. So this N8N, is it integrated to Retell?
N8N is its own platform. So you can use anything. So I'm using N8N, but you could use make.com. I'm not familiar with make.com, so I don't know. But this is just N8N, which is it's just a different platform. It's like Zapier.
Okay.
Right. But you can use anything. Like, again, I use N8N when we have these workshops. That's what I'm using. But you can use code. If you know how to code it, you can just use code. If you know Zapier or other tools or Make, you could use those tools. So, yeah, hopefully that makes sense.
All right. And we can integrate our calendar where the AI will book for the sales call.
Yeah, you can integrate with what calendar are you using?
Google.
Google, yeah, so you can integrate Google Calendar into it. However, that's going to require a custom function call in Google, right? So if I go to my agent, whatever agent that is, I need to create a custom function in here that's going to check the billability in Google Calendar. You can use cal.com and just integrate your Google Calendar on here. Or if you want to check Google Calendar directly, you're going to need to add a custom function. So there's multiple ways to do it.
Okay.
Alex, you mentioned you can download or share this.
Yeah, I can share this with you guys. It's not a problem. I'll download this and I'll share it with you guys. So you guys can play with it. Like I said, it's you really do kind of have to customize it to your own, to your own setup. There, actually, did I save it? Let me download the latest version. I don't think I saved it. And then the other one, this one's just for just a post-call analysis, which I will also include there, just in case, I don't know, maybe this will be helpful for you guys. While I do this, Ivana, you have a question?
Yes. Oh, can you guys hear me? Yes. Okay. Yes, but I have also totally unrelated questions. So Tony was the first, so I'll wait.
All right. Before we move on, do we have any questions related to what we went over today? Otherwise, we'll start with the unrelated questions, which is totally fine. What's going on here? Any other questions related to today's workshop? Nope. All right, Tony, take it away.
All right. Mine's probably just a really new question here. But I need to show you on my screen when you're ready here. But
you can share. I'm just trying to create this Google Drive folder so I can share the workflows from today. I'm not sure why it's not letting me. Okay, there we go. What's up with that? Just let me do. Yeah, go ahead.
Very quickly, like I got this simple text one to work with the functions and everything fine. And I noticed that in these functions, there's the speak after execution trigger.
Yes.
So when it pulls the information, it says, "Hey, here's the information," right? Which is normal and expected. But I just copied a template in here and I put a global node for find properties. And I saw there's no like speak after execution in this one here. And when I actually pull the data, right, if I say something like that, it doesn't speak it. It says it does. Like usually it says like, "Hey, I've given you the information," but it doesn't actually give the results. So I'm like, is there a speak after execution toggle or something that gets it to read the actual webhook results? Like even here I say, "You never said anything," and it'll actually be like, "Oh, okay, well, let me tell me the properties." So it knows. So if I do this, it'll tell me, but it doesn't read it out when I get the webhook. Probably won't do it now, but so I'm just wondering, is it as simple as I'm missing some sort of read after execution?
What are you trying to get it to do?
Because what's happening, so I get what you're saying. By the way, I share the Google Drive, their folder. So you just want to read, yeah, I get what you're saying.
I wanted to read this.
Yeah.
Right. And so I was told that I have to do this, but that didn't work either. How do I just basically how do I get it to read the results of the webhook?
Well, tell her that. Like, why can you just put it in the prompt right there?
I did. I tried it. I put read a message. I tried just message. I tried it as a static, and it always does. It always just says like skips the output and just kind of says like, "Oh, hey, great."
Well, you can't. What if you put? Can we try? I mean, can you like not put that message and just put like inform the user of the result?
Yeah, I tried that. Is it here or do I put it in here?
Right there.
Which
well,
one?
then the purple? Do you want to speak during execution? Are you trying to speak during execution? If not,
it doesn't really matter. I was just trying different things.
Yeah, so I would get rid of that. And under I would just put like inform the user of the results or of the property, whatever. I'm not sure what you're getting of the property. But what do you put? Why is that message?
So it's coming back like this. I've got it comes back with a count and then the message with the data in it.
Yeah, but message is the other thing. Message right now, the way you have it, you're telling Retell that you created a dynamic variable with
nothing there.
Message.
Okay, sorry. I only did this because someone in the Discord said this is what I have to do.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know about that.
It was Florian, support at Retell.ai, said you can use the message as a dynamic variable.
Yeah, but is that your variable? You got to pull that. You got to push that variable over there. If you got there's the variables inside here.
Yeah, so there's a count variable and there's a message variable.
No, there's a variable in the settings here. You can check what variables are loaded in at the moment. I think it's up on the. I forgot up.
Yeah, I think that's a dynamic variable. Can you try just inform the user of the property results or whatever? Don't put the messages of the property, whatever status.
Just like that?
Yeah, sure. Try it.
Oops. This is cool. You guys do this test later. I see the webhook triggering.
Is it returning it?
It is like, look, it's right here. It's returning right here.
Okay, so hold on. What does it say now?
It doesn't say anything. It just says like, oops.
Is there a response on the bottom?
There is, but it just says I've given you those results. See? So do any of these properties catch your eye? I'm like, huh? What properties? Never gave me results. So it knows about it because like I've tried this before.
Can you go back a couple? What are you doing to send, like, what does the webhook look like? You're sending it over, and
it's just a standard webhook.
I mean, what
the response?
Yeah, what's the
What's that?
response?
Like, what about when there is no properties?
The response is here. Like
No, I know.
it's definitely responding. I have a different webhook if there's no results that says response. Hey, there's nothing left, or there's nothing there.
To call.
It is calling the webhook as normal. I use the same endpoint in chatbots, everything. It reads it fine. I just thought, and again, in this one here, this works 100%. Right? I just use find properties. The only thing that I saw different was that there's this option here, speak after execution. And I noticed it wasn't in the other builder. So I was like, oh, maybe it's just a button somewhere that I have to tell it to give the results. Because this says unselect if you want to run the function silently, which I don't. And I never saw this option in the other builder.
I might have to talk to support on that, because I do get what you're saying. Like, you do have the option still on the
Hey, can you show what do you, because this is pulling in from N8N, right?
Correct.
Here's how you can do it with that message variable. If they're talking, pop that whatever your result is, pop it into a variable.
It isn't a variable. Again, it works in here, Ivan. It works in the simple builder. It'll return the results in the simple builder. Like, look, can you test it in this one too?
Interesting.
What is this asking me? Do you have any to show me? I see the webhook running now, and you'll see the response here because I've tested this one on the phone and everything, and it works perfectly. It's the exact same endpoint. See?
Oh, 2 listings.
So it gives the information properly. This one just returns it in this tool results, but it doesn't say it. So I'm guessing, Alex, there is no similar button to.
There is. I'm not seeing any. Yeah, I definitely don't see it.
So I guess my question is anybody else using a webhook where data comes back and they've never seen that problem? Is this the only thing I can? This is the only thing I can think that it is, because I'm like, it works 100% in the other agent.
Can you go back to that other? Because I got one that brings in. Where is that? Is it that one? I think there's some settings. Click on.
Only thing was the speak during execution, wait for results, which I want, obviously. And I made it a global node. Or is it a bug because it's a global node?
It might be because it's a global node.
It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be because if it's a global node or anything like that.
Right, but like it from what you're seeing and what I'm thinking, it should work, right? Because like, again, this one works perfectly fine. Exact same endpoint. Exact same function. Exact same JSON string.
Yeah, that should work the same. But it's clearly not informing the user of whatever that is.
And it doesn't know, because you could ask it and it doesn't know that info.
Well, so that weird thing is I've done this before. I'm like, can you tell me about it? And it actually told me.
Oh, it did actually.
It did before. Now it's not. But
can you show what you're popping out on that N8N or the return?
It's exactly this.
It's just pop. I mean, how's the structure look on the JSON?
The structure is exactly this. See, there's count and message. This is the exact structure right here.
Well, the one I had, because the reason I'm getting at this is,
can you just return the message
What's
instead
that?
of the? Can you just return the message instead of the count? on your N8N? Because right now
Yeah, I've tried that too.
And it's
but
still...
again, this one works.
No, I know.
But I did try just. I use the same word message, so I don't know if it has to say something else. But I use the variable message and then this.
Can you
You
try
gotta
return
set that variable?
Can you just
What's
try
that?
return it? Can you show me your N8N, and can you just return that as result instead of message? Just put result and then the message as the...
Sure. I'll show you my N8N, but don't judge me.
Oh, it's all good.
Messy. It's messy.
Everybody's
I'm the first person that says my builds are dirty. I don't label and everything, so here it is. Like,
Oh Lord.
I've got multiple, so this is a different webhook that brings my text, but you can see in here that this is how it came.
I can't see. I can't see it.
Oh, you can't see?
That's all.
It's like blurry. It looks like you have like a filter on top of it or something.
It's because it's in the execution. Give me a second.
Whoa.
Why is it red?
Because I have multiple N8N instances, so I want to make I don't want to get confused with which server I'm on and stuff.
Okay.
That's why.
Can you go with that output or with what it's returning? What is that? Jeez.
I can't see.
I bet you I know. I had an issue like this. If you're just popping it out as output, here's how you can do it. You can pop this out as a variable, but you got to set it as a variable inside here. Then you can use that message inside there, because then this isn't setting the variable.
What do you mean by setting the variable?
You got to go. Give me a sec here. Let me.
Are you doing? You're talking about a set node?
Nope. You got to set it in here. So you have to have the format. Here, give me one sec. Let me go into.
I guess I get I want to hear what you're saying, but don't you think it's weird that it works in one builder and not the other?
No, I mean I have this. Not really, because it's a little bit different is what's going on. So the whole setup of where it's going is a little different.
This exact same webhook I'm using for both builders though.
Right. But the builder and the general one, it's two different things. So it's got some quirks in it, basically, is what I'm getting at. You're gonna need to, if you set this as a variable inside here, right? So the output, here, I'll tell you what you put in. Because I had to troubleshoot something similar to this. Where's that Discord? Hold on one second. I'll find it for you.
Oh, actually, this isn't the output. This is what's coming in from here. This is the output here. Sorry.
Here's the output. Okay.
Right here.
So message.
Sorry,
I bet you this is going to be the problem here. Watch. If you change that, give me 1 second. Don't switch. If you change it to, I just popped that in here. Hold on.
Where am I looking? The chat?
Set,
yeah, so even if you're right, I would say, Alex, that consistency needs to be fixed between the builders.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to talk to tech support, but I think to what Ivan's point, it technically works different. It does work different because in the simple prompt, right? It's I don't know. I guess I don't know the technicalities, but it does work different versus in the conversational flow builder. You're splitting it between the different transitions and then getting that data. I have to get the specifics on that, to be honest with you, Tony.
Okay, so, but I have tried taking out the count where it just returned the message, and it didn't.
I would say just if you can just return it as results. Like if you just forget sure, return count, whatever, but can you just return it as results and see if that makes a difference?
What do you mean by return by results?
Yeah, because right now you have a named message. Can you just return
really? Just like literally just this
result? Yeah.
Oh, really? Yeah, let's try that.
That's why I returned mine. I don't know I think I have to do some more testing on it to see if it makes a difference, but I was just curious.
That's what you mean. Okay, let me just see.
I might not find it. Hold on. Let me go to my N8N.
So now I returned results in there. So if that's it, that's super funny. But again, the support guy in Discord told me to use message.
Well, because to me, the message is like you're using it as a dynamic variable, but you didn't set that dynamic variable in the beginning of the conversation. You're setting it after the fact.
Here, let me just show you what I'm talking about. So I shared. Do you see my Discord?
Yeah.
So I shared with him what I'm doing, and I'm trying something as simple as this. And then he told me to use the message like that.
Yeah, you see what it's telling you. You can use it as a dynamic variable, so that meaning that you created that dynamic variable at the start of the conversation, but you didn't create
Yeah.
the dynamic variable.
Here's how you here's an example.
There's a way to create it. Sorry, this is my second call. I didn't know you actually create the dynamic.
Well, you see, but the thing here, Ivan, I think still that still doesn't fix what you just put there, Ivan, because what you just put there is for the start of the message, and he's not doing it at the start of the message. He's doing it as a cut.
It won't. It doesn't matter if it's a start or not. It goes in there and check. But what you need is this sets the. You need this call inbound. This is the hard.
You need all this stuff in there.
You need this on these ones right here to bring that data back. I had the hardest time. This is what you need. You need to pull in the call inbound, and then underneath that you need that dynamic variable, and then you set that dynamic variable inside there, and whatever you set in here or the metadata, right? And then this is what sets it. At least on the flow builder or whatever try this. Try putting it.
But if this is I need all of these, or you're just saying a dynamic variable?
A dynamic, whatever. Like in your case, this would be message or the results of whatever.
I see.
And then this was.
Okay.
Try adding it. Just try adding this. Do this call bound. So like return, call bound, and then dynamic variable, and then whatever. Then in this point, you can put in your message or property details, right?
You're saying,
you won't need the metadata because that'll be.
Yeah. I'm just gonna do this in here really quick.
Yeah. So just change up just contact name, change that to message, and then add in whatever the return is on there. And then you can get rid of the metadata part. Yeah, you're not gonna need. There you go. Test this. This would be interesting if this works.
Just is that valid? It looks valid, right?
No comma. Yeah, it's so hard to see on your screen.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah, seriously.
Let me just run it again here. Okay, so that's interesting if you have to do that. Where did you find the documentation for that? Because I've been looking online.
So I went, there's a little spot online. I had to go in on, I went into support there because I could not for the life. Let's see if it goes in. You might need whatever property that you set that variable to, and now you're going to need that.
Like in here?
Yeah, because you want it to say whatever that variable is.
Because now, well, yeah. Let's see.
Hang on, I'm errored. I think I have a problem.
See if it pulled it into. I think you can.
I got an error for the JSON's invalid. I got to just look at it real quick.
Yeah, I can't see what you're doing. So make sure you set the name, because right now it's going to be contact name is what the variable is being set as. Right. So
what's wrong with my job? What's wrong with my friggin'
message? Okay, so that's right. You need your text is open, isn't it? Or not? No.
You need the quotes. Yeah.
There you go. Yep.
Okay, wherever you found that friggin' documentation, that'd be great if you.
It's a doc on there. It had an example on one of the pages of how that. So let's see here. You might need to the response might need that variable though, that message.
In here, you mean?
Yep.
We'll call it though, because we should still see that the function is calling that it should return something. So let's see what the results.
Let's see if it brought in that variable.
Yeah, exactly.
I have another error. Shoot. Okay.
Sorry for interruption. Like I made the same flow and it's working with me. I think I was talking with you, Tony, yesterday in Discord. And,
maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
I tried all that stuff in here. What the hell's wrong with my JSON?
Like I think the main problem is the property is the variable itself. You should name it like properties, and the message itself you should doesn't look like an LLM output. Like should present just the properties you wanna show. You know what I mean? Like here's the message. Like I found 6 listing in the city. So this doesn't look clear for the LLM. You should just present the properties.
He's having some issue on the JSON.
Yeah.
No. I implementing the same workflow he's doing, and it's working fine with me. I can send you a screenshot.
You're talking about returning the actual variables, not a sentence?
Yeah, I will send you a screenshot, what I mean.
What I do on mine for like the storage unit, it just gives them a quick little ding, 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 whatever they are, and a little bit of info, and then have it read off of that.
Like I send it in Discord.
Yeah. I will. Sorry, I know this is taking too much time here. I'm just
So-
running through ChatGPT to find out what's wrong with my JSON because I can't see it. I have too many brackets.
Like
Extra bracket on the bottom. I think.
One,
Nope, that's three.
two,
Yeah, no.
three.
Return call message.
Here, I just ran it into.
Do you? Why is
Oh,
that?
why is it?
actually, you have to
why is it
return it as a
return?
normal object. You
Why
don't
we-
have to.
Why are we doing return?
I don't remember.
You have
to
return in yours?
Yep, I do.
In your N8M?
Yeah, in my NAN. I think I
That's
grabbed
not
that
a
from Alex.
valid-
I was testing it from Alex.
I was like, that's not a valid JSON, though, is it?
It is. Mine works.
Oh, here. Wait.
I don't know. You're using the response to webhook. I typically use a code node. Just return it like
That's
that.
other. Yeah. I use a code node. I don't
You
use.
just use the return. Oh, I always use return. Okay, sorry. Let me try one time, and then we'll go on to somebody else because it's taking way too long.
Why didn't you try a web like a code node in there too?
Because I have my response. It's different. I mean, it's the same thing. You just on your webhook, you say respond to last node, or you say respond with webhook or whatever.
Well, try it. What I'm getting at is try to get to the same variables that we do, because that could be one that could be an issue, or you know what I'm saying.
And really quick here, Omar, can you share how the response? How you sharing? Can you take a screenshot of your response for properties?
Yeah, I send it in Discord.
Can you pop it in the chat here?
No, well, I see it in Discord, but you have like can you show me the response like the?
Oh, here, look.
Is that N10?
Yeah, so it came through on this one here now.
Hey, if you're bad, I'm your dad.
Yeah. So what was it then we had to add in here?
You're popping. So here's what happens.
Dynamic variables.
It's a dynamic variable, but you don't necessarily need that dynamic variable.
It's not going to work in here then, now is it? Will it still work in this one?
Not if you don't have that dynamic variable.
So I'm using the same thing.
It might, depends on. I'm telling you, these are two different, like it's two different systems. You got two different little parts inside here, so it's got its own little quirks.
Yeah, but so I guess that's just the feedback I'm going to have to Alex, is going back to his dev team, is that if it's fine that they work different, like that they're different, but it's strange that you would have.
Oh, here, look at all this.
Okay, so it does give it back. So this one still works.
Sucky part is it's this whole huge thing. Wow.
No, that's actually, I prefer that, because I use part of the problem that I've had with some voice LLMs is that it reads things weird because it's a data structure, so it doesn't actually turn it into a nice voice structure. So I passed it into an LLM prior to returning the webhook saying this is a voice response, and so in other tools I say use this, read it out exactly how it comes back.
Oh, so you're putting that LLM in a box almost, huh? Ooh.
I'm translating it to text so that the text to voice is better responses.
Okay. Are you changing it by the sound of it, so it changes up the words to
like it'll spell out 70 instead of, or not 70 is not a bad example because it's 2 letters, but if it's like a 5-digit number, instead of saying like 20,451, it might go 2451, like it might do that kind of stuff. I don't know if it does the same thing in Retell, but it's just
there's a little checkbox in that thing. It'll take care of it.
Okay.
But
regardless, like it's great that it's working and I figured it out, but my feedback is that irregardless if different builders use it different ways, we should be able to still return the same information, because and I'll give you an example, like that endpoint that I'll show you guys for how I get the results back. I'm using that in 5 different endpoints and they all are consistently working fine. It's just the Retell one that wasn't working.
Are you tracking
and now I got to build a new switch node to say if it comes from Retell, do it this way instead of this way.
Also, I would test it with the code node instead of returning it with it, because I feel like that also has something to do with it. Like the example that Omar shared, he's just returning it on a code node.
Yeah, can you show that?
I'll try that, but I don't think that's going to be able, because it still just returns the JSON, right?
I don't know. I would try it.
I'll try it. I honestly don't think it's that though, because yeah.
Like for
I'll
example,
try
like, I haven't had any issues with mine either, but I always use a code node and I always just return whatever's, just like for example how Omar has it, just like that.
Yeah.
Like I return it.
The difference is that on your webhook on the respond, you have when last node finishes, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So it's literally no different, but yeah, I'll try it.
How is you, Alex? I tried like one of your, I think it was a demo on there, and I had the hard. That's why it wouldn't go. Like it wouldn't bring in that it wouldn't set the variable for me without having that call inbound and then dynamic variable under.
And Alex, do you mind taking your screen and just show me what you're talking about? Like, how do you set the dynamic variable in the actual builder?
You're setting it right here through this.
Yeah.
No, but didn't you say that you build it in the builder though, Alex, or did I misunderstand you?
What?
In the workflow builder?
I'm not sure what I.
Oh, I must misunderstood you. I thought you said in the builder you define the dynamic variables.
You do. You give it.
Yeah, well, the dynamic variables are done at the start of the call. Like even if you go back to your example, you didn't even use that dynamic variable. So that means that you just got back the data. You didn't even need it, right? So there's something there. Like if you go back to your thing on your workflow, you didn't reference that dynamic variables. You just referenced properties, and it just told you properties, right? Where's the dynamic variable? So even though
the reason I did that is because I looked at this example. Here, this is a function. Yeah, I looked at this one, and I was like, oh, okay, they must call a variable, and it didn't. So that's why I was like, oh, it doesn't. Like that's the only reason why I did it like that, because I looked at this example.
Yeah, what I was saying is like the earlier the way you had it, you were saying like we use this dynamic variable, but dynamic variable wasn't used. But also to the same point, Omar did it. It worked. So,
but also that was after like trying 15 different ways, because that support guy told me to do that, so I tried it like that. But I was only looking at this before when I was trying to figure out how does Retell time.
Hey Omar, where did you put it in Discord? I want to see that example.
It's in the general chat in Discord. But it's exactly that. It's like you're using a code node, you're just returning the value, and then he is referencing it. So that is actually great that you're referencing that. So
oh yeah, there it is. Okay, and it's pulling in, Omar, just by doing that, huh?
Yeah, it called it for and
that's why you have the return, because it's in the code node. I see here.
I think it doesn't matter the code node or the webhook, because
no, it's just returning JSON.
Yeah, it doesn't matter how it returns. I think it's the main issue is the LLM. It doesn't understand what you want. Like maybe it's a knowledge base, the properties you ask for. So you have to specify which one you want, and put it in the variable and say this variable in this step. Like if you change the message to the property variable, I don't think it doesn't matter, but try it. Like change the name of the variable into properties and tell it to say this variable. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to talk to Tag.
I get what you're saying. It's just the difference, unless you're saying that the variable must equal properties, but I had message and message, so it technically shouldn't be different.
You can see what variables got pushed in too in there. Let me see this. Where was the? Oh, during the call, like if you go in the call, you can see if those variables got set or not. In the call
history.
Yep.
Yeah.
Outside of the builder.
Yep. Outside. Yep. Well, yeah, but you go inside here and then take a look at the ones that you called in earlier, or the tests, and then take a look at the data sent. Where's the see dynamic variable, and there's nothing. No, there's no. See that nothing got sent in versus other ones that you would do it. They would get sent.
Well, where's the one that worked? Just like,
I don't know.
You might have to call it like you might have to call it like through the actual like.
The test.
Oh, if you do the voice will pop in here.
Okay, so this doesn't show the test history.
Yeah.
At least not the chat one. The voice one does. So if you do the voice test, you know where you're talking to it to kind of run through it. That'll bring in.
I'm glad it works. I feel like it's it's the dynamic variables that I have to I had to pass, which I didn't have.
Mhm.
And so you need to wrap that all in that call inbound as well, as what you're saying.
That's what I thought, because I could not push it. That was the longest part. Is I needed that call inbound, and then that dynamic variable, and then the whatever you're popping in.
Yeah.
But if you don't, I mean, I think I banged my head for like 3-4 hours trying to figure out what was going on. So
one more kind of unrelated question. So the reason I put it into a text as well, sometimes I'm returning back 10 properties and it's just so long of information. That's why I actually use that LLM to shorten it a bit. Will Retell do that? Like shorten it if there's too much data, or will it read through all of the properties?
it runs down, you can tell
It's not going to shorten it for you.
Sorry?
It's not going to shorten it for you.
It won't. Okay.
Yeah. It's
I'll still do what I'm doing.
It can summarize. What I do is I get the whole big list, and then I use an LLM to shorten it, right? To kind of do a little, and then it just gives it a blurb.
Inside the builder or out in your
I do it in N8N, so then it's a simple little piece.
I'm doing the same thing. I have a OpenAI assistant that I use to do it.
Yep. I find that's easier versus the other way. But yours is still ginormous compared to what I'm sending out.
All right. Anyone else have any other questions regarding any other topic? Dana?
Yes, so I hope I will be able to explain it because I don't understand it also myself. So my client, it's related to SIP trunking. So my client has his own number and it's hosted by Telecom in Germany. So he provided me a SIP trunk that is, just a second, that is registration-based SIP trunk. And as well as I understood, Retell use IP-based SIP trunk, also using a termination URI.
Yeah.
So in this case, do I need something in between, like Twilio, to connect these two, or how should I handle it?
What is this for, inbound or outbound?
Both, but inbound mostly.
Okay, well, I mean, the inbound, you should just be able to forward that number to the agent number, and then that should take care of that.
You mean instead of using SIP trunking, I should use forwarding?
Yeah. Well, why not just forward it, right? Like if they call that business number, just automatically forward it to that Retell number, and then now the agent picks up. And then you should also, when you forward it, you should be able to pass the caller's ID.
Okay.
And then you should be able to get that. So, and then for the outbound call, there's a bunch of ways that could work in terms of like, if we need some sort of middleware. I'm not like super familiar with the German phone numbers, but you could use something like Cloudonics. That might be a little too complicated. So you can it might just be better to get like a separate number for the outbound. But if you did need to do something like that, and you can send me an email on this. This is a little more complicated for sure, but Cloudonics can do it. Cloudonics gives you a lot of control over the way conversations are happening or the phone calls are happening.
Oh, yes, I have seen that one, but as I understood in their pricing, they have only 10 concurrent calls, if I'm reading it correctly, right? Can you go to...
Yeah, you have to add more to it. It is like that. It really depends on your use case. And besides, again, I would start with just forwarding it. And the simplest way is going to be forward the number. And then when you make the outbound call, use another number and then just put the business name on the number when you're doing the outbound call. You could use Cloudonics. Cloudonics is expensive. So for sure.
That's also my point. It's expensive and it allows only 10 concurrent calls. So it's not really an optimal solution, I would say.
Yeah, so maybe Cloudonics. There's another one, Jamboree. I forget how to explain it. You can self-host it, but that is also going to be more complicated. I think the simplest way would be to forward the number and then just get another number from the outbound.
Okay, has anyone here used Twilio for this? Is anyone familiar with it?
To do SIP trunking from Twilio? Yeah, I mean, I haven't done it with German numbers, so that's the thing. I've done it, yes, with plenty Twilio, Telenex, Vonage, but I haven't done it with the German number, but it should work the exact same.
Okay. So I will look into Twilio. If not, then I just need to forward it to some
Honestly,
other.
Twilio, I'm not a huge fan of Twilio. I like Telenex. Personal note, I have a whole beef with goddamn Twilio. But you could, dude, I despise them with. Anyways, let me see. I think I imported some already. Yeah, then let me see here. Okay. Let's check it out. Right. If I wanted to import, I can connect via zip trunking. Ooh, let me see how much time we got. Okay.
Alex, can you just give me an email to which I can contact you, please?
Yeah, I'll give him a. And then I can also record a video on this, but it's very simple to do the whole zip trunking with Twilio or Telenex or Vonage.
I already done. Yeah, that one I know, and there's a bunch of YouTube videos on it, so you don't have to.
Okay.
I
If you
just
use a
want
zip
to
trunk, you're still paying per minute, right? Like that's the only, you still get charged the per minute usage.
From Twilio.
Yeah. So that's my email. You can go ahead and reach out to me. Like if you do need, again, if in the future, if you do need help with Cloudonics, I know the owner and Nir, his name is Nir. He's great. He's also on the Discord channel. He's very helpful.
He answered to my Discord question, but I feel like it's not an optimal solution for me because it's at first it's expensive, and the second it's only 10 concurrent calls, so it's not really good.
We use it. We pay a pretty penny for it. So yeah, I get you.
Okay, so thank you very much.
Yeah,
What
no
is
problem.
Alex? What is Cloudonics? Like, what does it do?
It can do a lot. That's a difficult question to answer, but I'll give you an example how we're using it, and then I'll answer your question, Jennifer. I see your hand. I'll just answer it real quick. So on Cloudonics, for example, right now we have clients that we need to do a warm transfer. We're doing a shit ton of outbound calls, like let's say 30,000 outbound calls a day or every hour or something like that, right? Tons. What happens is we're communicating with the lead. It's this is for mortgage, so we're talking to the lead. Hey, I saw that you're interested in purchasing a house. Blah blah blah. Would you like to talk to a loan officer? Great. We need to transfer that over to a loan officer and do a warm transfer. Meaning, when the loan officer answers, we need to be able to say, "Hey, this is Alex. He's looking to buy a house." Blah blah blah. But then we also need to be able to pass the phone number of the person we're talking to. You can't do that natively in Retell. I don't know if you guys know that. It doesn't work like that. You can't pass the phone number during a warm transfer of the person that you're talking to. You can only do that during a cold transfer. So, and I'll show you what I mean. Like when I go to any agent here and I'm gonna do a transfer, cold transfer, right? I can pass the transferee's number, right? The person that I'm talking to, only if I'm doing a cold transfer. But as soon as I go to warm, that option is no longer available. It doesn't work like that.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So that's a problem for some, right? Because I'll give you an example in my clients. Well, they need to have that number show up on the phone system of the loan officers because that's how they pull up the customer's information, right? So if we show the Retell phone number, that does them no good because they don't know who they're talking to. They don't have the customer's number in front of them. So what Cloudonics does in let me see. I forget what that's board mix. Let me see if I have a breakdown of it really quick here. Board mix. So essentially what's happening here in Cloudonics, just to make it kind of simple, we are essentially, we can do it through Cloudonics. Because we're using multiple numbers. We essentially have a conference call in Cloudonics. We create a conference call between Retell, the agent, and the loan officer. And then we pass that information over through zip trunking, through some headers. Yeah, I'm doing a horrible job at explaining it, but it allows you to do things like that, like what I'm talking about.
But I think we can solve this in Retell also, but like in the beginning of the call, like set the variable of the number, like from the inbound webhook, and before the transfer, we can make a function call that sends this phone number into a sheet or any way, like
we can do that. However, though, for this particular client, they're a call center, so they need to see that number on their phone, not on a Google Sheet or anywhere else. Because we can absolutely do that. That's not a problem. They need to see it on the phone. That's a problem.
Okay.
You can't do that now, and you can't do it because it's the way Retell is built on the back end. So that's not.
And it'll never be built in like that, Alex?
It's not. It won't. So yeah, completely. And I wish we could do that. Absolutely. We could just send it over to Salesforce or to whatever. However, they need to see it on their phone. So that's what we have to use a separate platform.
But if we are using a call transfer, then they will see the number, right?
Yeah. If you're doing a call transfer, then yep, right here, right. Okay. As soon as I click call transfer, then there's the transferee numbers, and bam, right. Very simple.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, what the heck? Okay, that's new. I didn't even realize that.
Yeah. So that's the only difference.
Because you're making a new, you're basically spoofing that call conferencing and then joining the call.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a whole bunch of technical. I'm not a SIP expert, but Near is very good. And yeah, the platform is great. It can do a whole bunch of other things, but that's how we use it. Jennifer, you had a question?
Yeah. So, okay, two things. I have a client in the UK, and also most of my clients will be from the UK. And I can see that we can't purchase UK phone numbers on Retell. So I'm thinking of asking them to forward their phone number to. So the question is, can they forward a UK phone number to a US number for the AI to use? Like if I purchase a US number on Retell, and I have them forward their UK number to that US number?
I believe they should. I don't know I believe they should, but honestly, I don't have a solid answer for that because I have no experience forwarding numbers from the UK. But any number, you should be able to forward it to whatever other numbers. I'm just not sure there's a conflict because you're forwarding it to a different country. So that could be an issue.
I got distracted there. You cannot buy UK numbers?
No, you can only buy US numbers.
Oh, okay. Can you use the SIP trunking with that then?
Yeah, you can use SIP trunking. Yeah, of course. So that's the other option. Jennifer, you can just buy one. Just get one and then just import it. Right? And I don't know what the regulations for let's see here.
You have customers that have imported into Retell?
Yeah, of course. Let's see what area code is like UK numbers. I don't really know. Am I looking for United Kingdom? Well, let's see let's see if it even lets me search. Yeah, you see, so you can just buy and import any of these.
Okay, so we don't need to provide their business documentation because Twilio was asking for that.
Oh, okay, then if Twilio was asking for it when they were getting the number, then yes, they will still have to provide it. Telenex and every provider is going to be the same. So, like I'm only verified for the US because I'm a US customer. If they do need to provide the verification from the business and like those are the laws in United Kingdom, then they will still have to follow that, regardless of Twilio, Telenex, or whatever. Those are the laws in the UK, which I'm not familiar with.
But if they have an existing SIP, they can use it, right?
Yeah, like I can for in the US, you can buy as many phone numbers. 82Ps only becomes an issue when you need to send a text message. But for calling, I can buy as many as I want. I don't have to do any registration or anything like that. But in other countries, it can be different.
Okay.
So
and then
yeah.
The second thing, I was trying to import the files and the drive that you sent, and it was failing. I was trying to import it into my. Can you just show me quickly how I would import it?
The drive. So these files, right? These?
Yes.
Yeah, so you just download it. So I'm just going to click download. And then I'm going to go to Retell. I'll go to a different account just so you can see. let's go, I don't know, this one. And then I'm going to click on agents, and then we're going to click on import, and then I'm just going to drag that file in here, just like that. I'll save it, and great, I got an error.
Yeah, so that's what I was seeing.
Oh, wait a minute, sorry, because that's not for.
That's an N8N.
Those are
Yeah,
N8N, aren't they?
they're N8N workflows. That's what I shared with you, N8N workflows. So it's not the agent. If you want me to share the agent, I'll share it with you. Sorry, that's why. That makes totally sense. Yeah, this is the agent. This is the one that we made. I can certainly share it. All we got to do is same thing, export it. I'll select the latest one. There's your appointment confirmation. I'll add it to the same drive, but it's different. So these are for N8N. I should have labeled them actually.
All right.
Let me see, and I'll show you. Okay, you see, so it's there. You can download it, and then to import it, now this will work. I can just go to import, and then I'll just drag that JSON. I'll confirm it, and you see, it made the agent, which is right here. Just like that.
Thank you.
Yep, no problem. Cool. Any other questions, concerns, guys? No one else?
Ivan wants to stick on after. It's my thing doesn't work still. I didn't change it.
Yours doesn't work still.
It did that one time, and then I just ran it again. It didn't. I didn't change JSON at all. I also tried the respond with the last node and changed it to the code node.
I'm gonna have to test it out because I actually have to do that for a project where I'm going to be making phone API calls and I need to return it something. So I'm actually going to be going through that today, and I can certainly also ask support to what's up with that.
Yeah.
So,
Wait, did it work one time? Are you doing it in the testing or the actual voice one?
I did it in the test again.
Could do it in the, if you do it in the voice, I mean, then you can at least see what it returns.
Yeah. But it's just funny. It's just funny that it worked that one time and then it didn't again after.
And you didn't change those areas?
I didn't change anything. No.
I'm gonna have to go through it. Listen, I'm gonna be going through this scenario, and you can, if you still have issues, or you can just follow up with me. There's my email, or you can add me on Discord, whatever's.
Okay. Did you also find the context window of the variables? You're gonna look into that.
What's the
last call? You said you're gonna check with the team to see how big of a metadata we can pass.
I did actually, and I did check, and I'm not gonna lie to you, they did tell me, and I forgot it. So
okay.
I'll have to, again.
Okay.
They did tell me though. I have to remember what that context window is.
And for everyone else, that's just to know how much data we can pass back and forth through the API.
Regarding does Retell use the latest transcribe model from GPT to transcribe? It's very helpful. I believe we do, but I would have to find out the exact model that is being used for transcribe.
They just updated it too. I saw an email that went out to the newest
4.1, yeah.
It's, well, we're talking the transcribe, right? So it's like the speech to text portion of it. Is that what you're referring to? That part? That's actually handled by Nova 3. So that's the model. Nova 3 is the latest one. That's what's being used to transcribe it. So Nova 3 is by DeepGram. It's not the GPT-4o transcribe. It's by DeepGram. That's the one that's being used. And that was recently updated. That's actually, yeah.
Also, maybe I'm reading this wrong, but in that email went out, it talked about the price and it showed the different prices from lower to higher. I think GPT-4o is out of place.
The prices for what, I'm sorry?
Just in that email that came out like a couple hours ago, whatever it was. It had like intelligence, latency, price, just kind of listing the order of things. I think it's out of order in the price.
Yeah, and I think the intelligence was also.
Oh, is it?
I think because it shows that like 4o is intelligent than all of them.
Oh, it is. Yeah, it does say 4o is more intelligent.
Which is not. 4.1 is the most intelligent.
Yeah. Okay.
We gotta fix it.
I didn't even notice that.
Fix it, huh?
Yeah. All right. Anyone else have any other questions, concerns, anything?
Yeah, have you found a way to print money yet with this thing, huh?
Dude, are you kidding me? If you're not printing with it, like, then what are you doing? Dude, seriously, I think there's a huge urgency for it.
There is, yeah.
I mean, we're doing like 3-4 discovery calls like a day. So
for big ones, for like huge ones, or what?
yeah, I'm telling you, it's a huge thing, and it's on a separate note, it's kind of scary because a lot of the people that we're talking to, they're like replacing like call centers with like hundreds of employees, you know. So it's coming, and a lot of businesses are on it for sure. So
yeah. I'm getting a lot of yeah, same thing, kind of.
It's
not on a bigger scale, but that's awesome on a bigger scale.
Yeah, I mean, even the small ones, even like small ones, like smaller businesses, they're on it. We're seeing a lot of, primarily we do focus on collections and on the healthcare industry. Even we've seen a lot of doctors on it. A lot of, again, that's primarily what we work with. A lot of doctors are like, dude, people are quitting, don't want to answer the phones. It's a huge issue. It's a huge issue. I know for a fact in the medical industry. I know it's an issue in other industries as well.
Yeah. You guys have stats on that? Like I've been asked for a couple clients actually about in terms of adoption and accepted rates from AI calling and answering. Do you guys have some just general data even that I can share? Because I'm answering anecdotally, and like there's always going to be, you know, people that are against it, but I don't know if there's real data anywhere.
I mean, I'm sure we have stats on it for sure. We have stats. I can get some of that.
That'd be amazing. That would be super helpful actually, because then that's part of that whole, you know, are we going to adopt it or not? And if there's stats, that I think it just helps.
Sure. I mean, I don't know. I think you could show anyone stats, but I don't know.
I don't know. I've literally been asked by every single client, and I just talk through it anecdotal, and they're fine, but they still ask for data.
Okay, we've never had anyone ask us for stats. That's interesting.
I'm also dealing with HR people, so I don't know if that's why.
I mean, we deal with a lot of enterprise. Most of our clients are enterprise, all corporate stuff.
HR.
Oh, HR. Okay. HR. All right. Yeah.
Built different.
I don't know about HR. I've never dealt with HR people.
Slowest adoption group ever.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I haven't dealt with them, but we haven't had asked for stats, but we can certainly get some. I know we have stats on the platform, so I should be able to.
Literally like 6 to 12 month sales process. It's horrible.
Yeah, you might want to go a different niche.
With HR.
Yeah,
I've got a couple, but I've got some moving along, which is good, but they're just so slow.
Alex, I mean, for these,
why do you work with them?
Yeah, because I have 20 years of HR experience. So that's my background. That's my expertise, and I'm bringing technology and innovations into things. But it's needed. But they're just most HR people don't have any IT or knowledge of technology or anything like that.
Seems like an uphill battle.
Yeah. But once you're in, you're gonna stay in.
Sounds good. Best of luck with that. I mean, you have the experience in it. So.
I was gonna say I can't change my experience where I'm in.
Yeah, exactly. No, you're leaning into it. That's great. I think it is good. So, yeah, it's quite a long cycle. And then
horrible.
And do our 2-year clients? Do I have real estate clients? I have real estate agents that are like, I have like 2, 3. That's it. Not a lot. Like, I'm not sure that's what you mean by real estate clients. I have real estate agents that like, they use high level. So I've built out like the workflows so that they can use with their clients, but not like a direct. Well, and then I have the other real estate is more mortgages. So that's the experience in real estate. I'm not sure if that answers your question there.
I noticed in that email they said that there's some improvements on that multi-language. Do you have much details on that?
The improvements on what? I'm sorry.
Multi-language. Did I read that?
Yeah. So those are the new. That's what I mean by the new model that came out too. There is improvements in the language. I know a lot of people were asking about it, which is there's new languages now. Those were updated, and then there's also the multilingual. So this multilingual model here is new, which now allows you to transition between French and all these other languages, where before I think it was only English and Spanish.
Okay,
so now,
you brought this up last week, so there's no change from last week till this week.
No, yeah, this was still the same thing from last week, yeah. And we did test this out, and I think it worked very well switching between the conversations. So, yeah, the multilingual works great. Cool. Any other questions, concerns, guys? Otherwise, I'll let you guys go.
Ivan, you want to stick around and help me debug?
Yeah, I can swing on.
I mean, that's
Where's
Sounds
Omar?
good.
Omar took off too, or he's in here because he has got it working.
Well,
Yeah, Omar's still here.
yeah.
I would love to know how
Oh.
you guys make that
Oh.
work. I'm gonna test it out on my end as well. And
could it be because I just used the template and I didn't really connect the notes to anything? Like, is there any?
Is it working now or what?
No, it's not. But I haven't built this from scratch. I just threw it. Last week. You guys probably heard I was excited about these global nodes. I just came in to try it, and so I didn't build my own template. I just used a template and I just added a global node. Do all the nodes need to be connected for it to work properly?
not if it's a global node, it shouldn't be. Yeah, not if it's a global node. But yeah, I'll be curious to see if you guys fix it. Like I said, I'm gonna ask support, and you can send me a message or add me on Discord, and I'll have an answer for you tomorrow because I'm gonna be meeting with them later on, anyways. So, but
If
I'm
you're
also
going
gonna
to be doing it too, Alex, try that little code that I just sent too, because I banged my head for like 3 hours.
Ivan, I'm going to show you that I have that friggin'
Yeah.
code in there.
I see that code, but the code that you sent, Ivan, to me, that's applicable for an inbound webhook at the start of the call. To me, what Omar put makes more sense. That's how realistically you would return a function call. Not only that.
Yeah, but the way I tried doing your return, it would not work. It just until I popped that sucker into and then if you look at the test call, it wouldn't bring in the variable in. It just an empty variable. So I don't know.
Yeah,
if
I'm
that's
not with that because I get what you're saying. That it worked, however, it shouldn't have worked, and it shouldn't be like that because we can't always control the way that the return is handled.
To run through.
So, and I'm going to talk to support on that.
Find out what you find because that'll be. I wonder if they got something
myself. Yeah, because it shouldn't work like that. It should be how like Omar did it, just like return whatever and whatever it was returned, and it should interpret it. So I'm going to find out if it's an issue, if it's a tech issue, or if it's or if there's a better way to handle it and what that way is.
Oh, that'd be great. Awesome.
Yep.
Omar, can you stick around for a question after?
Yeah. Maybe after the call we can get together and help you if you want.
Sure. Yeah, we can just stick in here if it's okay with Alex.
I mean, I think if I end the call, I mean, you guys can stay here. I don't know if I end the call if it.
No, it stays open. It stays open if you end the call.
Yeah.
Unless you click end for everybody.
I can grab a Zoom. You want a Zoom? I think it does.
If he leaves, it'll say end call for everyone or just him. As long as he doesn't say end call for everyone, then we're good.
Yeah, I don't mind. You guys can go right ahead. Plus, I'll just keep in mind that's being recorded. So
yeah, no worries.
But yeah, if you guys want to go through, that's totally fine. It'll probably be helpful too because I'll go through the recording and see if you guys can figure it out or fix it.
Thank you.
So, really quick, any thoughts on next week's? Anything else you guys want to go over? Any other topics you guys want to see are covering these workshops?
Just thinking, what am I having some issues with?
I haven't built a full thing yet, so I don't have anything yet.
Okay.
I got stuck on this stupid webhook.
All right, sounds good. Well, we're gonna meet next week. So if you do guys have any topics, you can send them to me or put them on Discord. But yeah, awesome guys. So I'll let you guys go. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and then I'll talk to you guys later on.
Thank you, Alex.
Thanks, Alex.
Thanks, guys.
Hey, Omar, curious on that screenshot that you sent, your tool results, is that that's exactly the same thing? You just have that return properties and you have one properties.
That's what Alex had too.
You have one properties, right?
Yeah. I can send you a screenshot of the tool result also.
No, so here's the thing that Ivan said. I'll share it again. Like driving myself crazy.
Here's the bigger. Can you create another agent just so you don't have all the other stuff in there? Because that would be awesome.
Well, and that's what I was wondering. I'm like, is it because I just threw it in this stupid thing, or
it could be some like. I mean, what I like to do is just get all the variables out of the way, so then you're, what's
look. I haven't changed it. Exact same thing. Can you see my screen?
Variable. Yep. Call inbound. Okay, so that's running through.
Didn't work again.
Wow, those are some great options. It's thinking that that the user is saying that.
No, it's thinking that it maybe, but my interpretation of this is that because sometimes it says, "Hey, I've given you the results. What do you think about those?"
But that would be before this.
No, it's the exact same. This message is different every time.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes it says, any of those results look good to you?
Man, I got a feeling this is a prompt. What does it say in the beginning of your go up a little bit in that's coming in? In the actual message that's coming in from
Can you change the message that come from the anything and
yeah. Because it looks like
what are you looking for?
Yeah, like in the beginning you had some words that's like watch from what did they say? I thought you had some what is it? Found site listings.
The message
first up here's 2 beautiful homes.
Yeah, it looks like another conversation, so maybe the LLM didn't understand it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, this is fine. This is your response, Ivan. Like I had this before as just message.
Right. But here's what I'm getting at. I think that I found 6 listings. It's thinking that the user said that to it.
Why would it?
Because remember, this is an LLM, so it's like you're talking into ChatGPT and you wrote that message into it. So now it's thinking that that's the message that's coming in from the user. Like it doesn't know that it's a voice thing.
Hey, you know what? Actually, that's a good test. I'm going to hard code. A response.
I can send you my hard code.
I'm just going to get rid of the variable and just say this is a test.
No. Like
no. Property. So go property. Like
I will send you mine in Google Chat.
Yeah. Just pop that in.
Copy it and put it like hard coded and see what's gonna happen. And also put the variable in double brackets so it can understand its variable.
You might not even need the variable. If this is a problem with the LLM getting all mixed up, you just might need just whatever the bedroom. Boom, yeah. Just
like it could be more accurate. Like if you have another properties in the knowledge base, it maybe get confused. You know what I mean? So I have to tell her say this specifically. That comes from this.
Hang on. I just want to see if what Ivan is saying is true. Because if I just put hard code test, that should come back.
But it's not going to give it a property.
I'm putting in the same structure as you have, but instead of this, I'm just putting test.
Okay.
But I want to see if that's it.
Give it a 1, 2, 3. When give it. That's what you want to do instead, because it's looking for a property. Any properties? Okay, let's see.
Unless this LLM's responding completely different than any other LLM, it doesn't need to look for a specific response. It'll tell you things back.
I see your property, Calgary. Do you have any specific property in mind, like a house? Anything?
Actually, I should go look to see the triggers.
And do voice. That's the other thing. Do this in voice. So click on that voice. You know where you're testing. Test audio.
Yeah. Have you seen differences versus voice and text?
Yeah. Well, what it'll do is it'll actually pull what the data is coming in. Okay, so it's coming test. So what did you get? Got it. You're open to anything.
Same thing. It's like, hey, is there anything else?
Like, can you try my way? Like,
I will.
Actual property
because I'm returning a JSON, I got to get rid of the line breaks. So just give me a second. Line breaks will break the.
Yeah, and then after this, because you're going through like kind of round in circles, what I would do is set up a new agent with just like 3 nodes in there, right? 1 to do it, 1 not to do it, and then send it.
Like I already have this agent, like 3 nodes until this, and it's actually working.
Well, no, this is not. Again, I just threw this inside of the template, so that's why I asked that last question. I'm like, is it a problem that I just put it inside here and didn't really connect it to anything?
It could be, depending on where it starts or what it's doing.
Yeah. I mean, Alex said no, but
no, if it's a global node, I think it will be working fine.
Change it to your stuff now. Breaks. Okay, there's no quotations because I'm rushing through this. Save. It's running. I kind of think though that I want to try a brand new clean workflow.
Did you put? Can you show that to result? Yeah. Can you for the last test before you do the new agent, can you put the variable in two brackets so it
This
can
one?
understand its variable?
Message.
Like, can you zoom in because I can see?
They just say here's the, and then what you want to do is
Like,
available
CSS.
properties. Yeah, available
Yeah, CSS
properties,
Pro.
colon, and then the message.
Mhm,
How do you
yeah,
zoom
yeah.
in here without zooming in your entire browser?
Okay,
Okay.
okay.
You can click if you got a Mac, it's Command Scroll, and that'll zoom.
Just like this, or do you leave it just blank?
No. So what you want to do is
No,
give
no.
it, tell
Say
it, give it the prompt, and then after the prompt, available properties, colon, and then the bracket, the variable, so it knows what it is.
Yeah.
You can
Okay, so
actually
if it looks like this, the variable is called message, right?
Yeah, make sure the variable is the same. Like,
Yeah,
I
it's
don't
right here,
see
right?
it's capital letters or
Message,
yeah.
right?
No, but now you give the prompt. Here's what you want to do: property or you want
say
to
this property and for the user and format it well for them. For example, I mean,
let the user know what is available like this, right? Well, and then properties would be like this,
Whoops, are you putting it in the chat?
Yeah, like this, something like this. The other thing you can put it is in the global node. Is that make sure that that's actually the variable that's spelled.
It
like
is.
that.
It is. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
there's two. There's two. So you're saying put it in here instead?
No.
No,
You're getting that property, and that variable should be getting set as soon as you pop that sucker going out. As soon as you call the webhook, it pops it back, and then it sets the variable. Now I can't tell whether
click on the function itself.
It is message. It's right here. It's right here.
Okay, so ask it now.
No, can you click on the function itself? Like maybe it goes over before it.
Where am I looking?
It does go to the other node before it calls the function. You know what I mean?
I don't.
Yeah, it works. You wait
Because
for
if you watch it, it goes here and then it goes here.
Yeah, it's working fine. Can you test it right now?
Do the voice. Do the voice one. I just want to see if it's pulling it in. Say, what are the properties? Because you got to go for the properties.
Can you tell me if there's any properties in Winnipeg?
Boom. Okay. Is it firing the webhook?
It is, yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
The thing is,
wait, it didn't do it though.
The properties I send you is not in the same area you're asking for.
No, but I don't think.
What?
Hey,
The
you know what?
property
Then
is
let me
whole code
just do this. I'm gonna go change. I'm gonna
in a
change the
different
hard
area.
code. Yeah, I'm gonna change the variable to the hard code to say Winnipeg instead of the city that you said. So Winnipeg address, and I don't know.
Like, do the opposite. Like, ask it for the real address and the hard coded.
Well, because then I got to change my query, so I don't want to do that. I'm gonna just change the output.
Go into that's the other thing. Go into can you go in the calls? Now you should see that if it pulled in that data, if that variable got set.
Yeah, hang on. I'm just gonna change this real quick.
Mm-hmm.
You guys probably can't see it. Sorry.
Nope, we can't.
Okay, so I'm just hard coding that. Save it. Then I'm going to where? Here.
Call settings. Yep. All history. There you go. Yep. Click on. Is that it? And then go to the data. So it didn't even get.
No, not this one, because if you look at the transcription, there is no transcription.
Refresh it. See if it.
Refresh because it's it cached.
Is my account bugged? Like, what's the? Does the test? Does the test come in here for sure?
Yeah, it comes in.
Check the date. This is from yesterday, 16.
Yeah. Oh, 4/16 is today.
Yeah, well, maybe different.
5:36. Yeah, this is 2 minutes ago.
Why didn't the data come in?
I don't know. That's what I'm wondering. I literally just started using this platform, so I don't know like if my stuff's bugged or not. But obviously, there's nothing coming through.
Yeah.
So maybe that's the problem. I've got some sort of weird issue in my. And then so I hard coded that now. So let's go back to test. Yeah. Do you have any properties in Winnipeg? Oh, that spelled it weird. Winnipeg.
Well, that's taking a long time to process.
As it's not. There's only one hard code thing. You're lying. You're hallucinating.
You interrupted it.
Yeah, check again, please. Tell me about the property that you were going to tell me about. Oh, that is it.
It seems working.
Yeah, that was it. Okay, let's try it again on here. Is this because this doesn't work?
It works. It'll all work. It's going to be your setting.
It's because the hard code you sent, like the element didn't understand the first time what you want.
Yeah, because it's a mix. You were giving it conflicting the way that.
Yeah.
But again, think about this before. It wasn't conflicting before.
It was.
Right? No. From my code before I hard coded. If I asked for Winnipeg, it was bringing back Winnipeg data. If I asked for Calgary, it was bringing back.
It has like two conversations inside the LM. Like telling the LM, I found this and this. It shouldn't work like that. Just put the properties in there.
You can't. You're better. Here's what I'm saying. Like you wanna control this thing to like the T, right? The problem is you got to tell it that you're controlling it. Hey, I want you to say this.
Yeah.
Right? Because otherwise, think about like the perspective of what's happening right now. You're calling, it's transcribing, it's sending it down. Now you got this conversation, and now you got this other thing that just came through. It has no idea.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess the weird part about that is that what's going on here? I thought I hard coded that. Give me a sec. It's not even hard coded. Oh, it is hard coded. Okay. The only thing is like every other voice LLM I use the same N8N workflow on 5 other things, and it uses the same OpenAI assistant to create the voice.
I know, but right now what you're saying is, hey, I drive a car, and now you're trying to get in an airplane to make it.
It's not though. It's a car is a car. I use voice agents on the other ones too.
Well, here's what you're saying here. Like, look, you're telling me to believe something else because you're saying I'm telling you it's different because that's the reason it's running through. You know, like you're gonna have that. You got to know that there's like these little boundaries. That's probably why it's doing that. Watch, pop in that same. Watch this. Hey,
I'm gonna change that thing and not say I found. I'm just gonna say here's the results.
I bet you it comes in.
Yeah. This will work. I think will work.
I'm just gonna copy this
and see what happens.
So it should technically work through the text as well, right?
Either one, yeah. I'm surprised.
Yeah, the same.
History is not coming through. That's kind of odd because I like to go in and see the data coming through.
Yeah, and so for your guys is when you do the test on the voice, it shows up in your history, but for mine it's not.
Yeah, it's better for debugging. That's it.
Like, look, I'm going to do a debug right now. Here, let's find out. Test.
Look, see this one I didn't say I found. Or should I just change this from this is first as a bright 2-story home.
I'm a spammer.
What's that?
No, I'm sorry. I just did a quick test over here to make sure.
So this one again, I didn't say I found 6. Right? I'm just saying I can hard code this to anything, but that doesn't seem like it fixed it.
What did it do? What was the response?
Just that first there's a too bright story site. And
Oh,
I can
so
go
it
back.
did give it to you.
No, but it didn't say it again.
So there's options, and when do you catch it? Or it's still thinking. I think this is what's the rest of it? Yeah. Then there's a fully historic home. The way you're formatted inside here, right? You're like it's in a language that somebody would say. So
Yeah,
I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna return just the data, and I'll show you.
I think the problem in your prompt, like you should tell it to return, like for example, a markdown. Like so, it just retains the properties. It doesn't tell you like here you go, the properties you have. You know.
Here, I'll show you what I tried last time. Give me a sec here.
Like, okay, so
or stay in the prompt, say nothing else other than properties.
Hang on, I want to see if this will work as well. Give me a sec here. Fall back.
Okay, this is very odd. Why is mine like my call history shows up no problem? Like boom, maybe.
Blue. Shit, what did I have to before?
Hold on a second, guys.
Where is my response? Yeah, I want to see if this. So when you guys do it, you always format. You don't bring back just raw data.
Yeah, it's only the properties.
Just want to see if this will do. Just because most, I know you're saying each tool is different, which I totally agree with. So
There's something wrong in the request. Like, can you show the tool result?
a sec, I just gotta check something. Shit, I gotta. Oh, I hate editing things on the fly. Give me a sec.
Yeah, the videos are gonna be too long.
Oh, what's wrong with my code now?
If you show the tool result, it would show you the error.
No, it's my JSON in this is it's because I have quotation marks. I gotta.
Whoops, sorry. Okay, what did I miss?
Nothing. I got double quotations. So give me a second.
Are you still doing the same one? Why don't you just do a new? Are you going to test one or what? Or why don't you do?
Yeah, I just want to test one more thing here.
Yeah. And then probably a new agent is what you want.
Yeah, I probably need to do that. It's my thing. So I was going to say, I know what you're saying, that all systems and tools are different, but LLM should be smart enough to look at like arrays. So every other one I've done it something like this, where I just pass like a full data set and it tells it out. So this obviously doesn't work, but I wonder. I'm gonna try. I wonder if it's just the friggin' agent, because I'm not getting those variables like you say you get, right? Oh,
I think
got it.
LLM is not
you wanna
that's
do?
smart.
Conversation flow.
Mm-hmm.
You can just add a function. Oh shit! I gotta add the functions again.
Just open it up in another tab and then grab the copy.
All I need is this one tab. Actually, I don't need to do the other. Global node. Right, like if it's global, I can just test it like this.
What was that?
Yeah,
If it's global,
yeah.
I can just do it like this.
No, it depends on if global context.
Yeah.
I don't know if the function can be global or not. Yeah, it can be.
Just like this, right? Then you have to add another conversation node. Like technically, this should work, right, guys?
We'll find out here real quick. Not sure which part are you running to. Okay, so results. Yep. Get the results.
Like you should put the probe is a variable.
Yeah, I just want to test one by one kind of thing. Because this is what I've done in every other tool.
You have to go to put a context in the global node to be able to get in the global node.
Oh.
Like here,
Okay, yeah.
When I ask about properties, it should get
when someone asks.
And tell it what to do too. Give them this.
What? That's not good enough?
It should be. Let's test it out.
Yeah, this will work.
Where's the global one? You got there's a global one too. So
this is the global one.
There's if you uncheck this.
Oh, see, look, it works now. Maybe it was just that fucking. Maybe it was just the, what do you call it? Oh, I gotta redo all my stuff now. Like I deleted a whole bunch of nodes, but see, it did return it. Maybe it was just that one workflow was broken.
There could be something. I mean, when you copied it over, it might have had like other variables or other functions or whatever. You got to take a look at that.
Maybe because this agent is like empty. There is no other context in this LLM, you know. So the other context from the other agent is huge. So there is context, so maybe didn't understand it. So you have to give it specific to do something.
Yeah, that's why I asked Alex. I'm like, does it matter?
Well, there's another one. There's a global setting. So you got that global node. There's global set. So if you unclick outside that node, just check anywhere in the.
Hey, give me a sec. I'm just gonna restore my workflow because like it's all screwed up. Shoot, I don't know where it is. What's today? 16th.
All day.
That one's good.
Man, you roll sloppy on that thing. You know, you could have just copied the like duplicate and then just pushed them over instead of having to.
What are you talking about?
In your N8N, you should have just copied the node, and then the one that you had before just put on the side, and then you just linked up the new one.
Obviously, we were on the call there, so I was just trying to figure things out.
I got it.
Okay, so restored. Go to applications. Let's make sure I did the right one. Running. That it succeeded. Yeah. So it does. They range. Yeah, it did. It works. So it was something with that old thing, that other workflow. That's frustrating.
Yeah, but in real life, you're gonna have to work with a bigger agent, so you have to know to figure it out with a bigger agent, not just a small agent. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course. But I don't know. Like again, for this one here, literally all I did was I was like, oh, I want to test these global nodes because I was excited about it, and then I think I just did this one, and then I added a global node. Or maybe it wasn't this one. Yeah, it wasn't this one. It was a different one. But,
Yeah,
that's all I did. Because I don't know, like if you were here last time, Omar, but this is my second call. And when I heard there's global nodes last week, I was like, holy crap, this will help solve a lot of my problems.
yeah. I'm also new to it.
So now it works. Now it's going.
It works exactly the fine as everything else.
Hey, do a test on that on this new one here, and then do a voice one and see if it shows up in the.
Oh, in the data or whatever.
Yep, in the call.
And actually, you know what? Maybe it's this because I had the other one on Nano. Did I?
I don't know.
Wonder if that's it. What model did I have on this one? Oh, I had it on. Oh, I wonder if that's it. Let's check. That could be it too. Oh no, because this was only today, wasn't it, Nano?
Yep.
Yeah, so I tested it yesterday. It didn't work either. So.
I don't think typing goes in there, but it could. Let's find out.
No, I just want to see if it still works, changing it to Nano.
Okay.
See it executing. Yeah, so that one still worked. Let's try this now. Hello? Do you have any properties in Toronto? Oh, no, not Toronto, Calgary.
For you, of course.
So got it. Now I go what? Here?
Call history. Top one.
This one? Oh, yeah, look.
Yep, look, data, and then you can go look at
Okay,
the data.
Oh, no, look, no dynamic.
But if you were bringing in, so if you were...
oh, right, because I changed it back to what I had.
Yeah, but if you were setting variables, right, it would set it right inside.
There's something wrong with the other one, though, because look, all the transcripts are empty on the other one.
Yeah.
Because even shows 1 minute 16, right?
It could be that setup, you know, that copy of that.
100% it was the node or the workflow.
Yeah.
Because like, look, the call's not in here either, though. But this one has a call.
I wonder if mine, I probably ran into the same issue is because I copied one, and that's why mine wasn't doing the return like yours, Omar. So it could be the setting on that, or it could be the.
But basically, what we were each doing is right. Like it's just there's obviously something wrong with that copied node.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I was like,
but check this
pulling
out.
my hair out.
If you click on, you do realize there's the global settings, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. There you go.
Down here. Yeah.
Yep. The other thing that you can set is you can set like default variable names or default, because otherwise it'll say if you have first name, it's going to read off first name instead of if there's no variable set for it.
Oh, see, look at this one now. Did the same thing. Try this. Hello? Do you have any properties that have schools close to them? Which cities? What about Toronto? Oh, it's interesting. It's running the query again.
Yeah, because it's a global node.
It does work. Yeah. That's interesting. So the first time it didn't respond with the ones, maybe because there's too much data. Right? Maybe there's just too much data.
Could be.
And then when I said in Toronto, it recalled the tool, turned it. But anyway, this is acting way different than that other broken one. I'm sure. I'm confident it came down to a broken workflow.
There you go. Boom.
I don't
Right?
think
Because
it's
none of this was
about
here.
about the size of the result. I think
Well,
it's more about the prompt. Because
Yeah, I
this
don't
is
know
not
what you
new.
do. I think you're making it work too hard here.
Again, you guys, like I hear what you're saying, but this, like, I've had zero problems with LLMs with this before. So unless they have something really, oh, and actually, you know what? This is on 4.1, so that's new.
Because you're not working with like a one context. Like the LLM you're working has a huge nodes around it, so it needs to know which node and the context before that. It's more complicated than a normal LLM. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I hear you. So I hear you.
And it also depends on the model you're using.
Hello. Do you have any properties close to a school? It might be the Nano. But I had it yesterday. I had it 4.0, so that's interesting. What are you guys using for your model normally?
4.
Yeah, it's the one you're using right now.
You are using 4.0?
Yeah, but I think the problem is on the prompt itself. Like here is a prompt and gives a result. It's like it's not obvious. Like maybe like
But it was working in that one.
Format the result well. Like try it.
Like it worked on 4.0.
Well, 4.0 is smarter too.
It is.
Yeah, you need to be consistent.
I don't think it has anything to do with the prompt.
No, I'm sure it's 100% of the prompt.
Yeah, I do too. I think it's 100% the prompt.
It brings it back on 4.0. I think it's the model that was not being handled properly.
Here's why 4 has to figure out what that prompt is saying. So it's easier for it to figure out the context and run it through. You're making it, you're trying to do, you have like a little geometry and you're trying to get this thing to a big
you're perfect LLM. You're depending if the LLM is smart or not. You have to give it specific in the prompt. Like treat it like it's a dumb person.
I hear what you're saying. I'm using this exact same one on different models with there's no issues. So 4.0 mini is fine. This is the one that's probably, again, this is new too. So this is
maybe now it will be fine, but if it's a real call, it will be a more context. Maybe it will get it will get confused. So you have to make sure it will not get confused and to tell her what to say exactly in the prompt.
Yes, but I reverted this back to my whole data structure node, but I changed it to give me actual a sentence before. I hear you, but I think the big problem is that node yesterday had a problem with the node. Like there's obviously, or not node, there's something wrong with the workflow. And then today I compounded it because I tried Nano because it was new. Nano's not smart enough to do it. 4.0 mini probably works good. Let me test.
But I bet you Nano would be able to do it anyways if you prompt it.
Yeah.
You're prompted. That's what I'm telling you. You're going to be overpaying because you don't want to do the like set it up for it, like to slam it out of the park.
It's an easy way to prompt it.
Partially because I'm also I'm getting my results through I use an LLM to create a SQL query against my Postgres. Right. So I'm getting better results with that. And then again, from the testing that I did, I shrunk the output into that text. You know how it showed the actual readout text? I bet you if I did that with a different model other than 4.1 nano, it would have worked. Because this works on mini, right? Did I do mini last? Yeah, mini works fine.
And that's cheaper. Yeah.
Yeah, but I selected nano because it was brand new, and I had a problem from yesterday with the actual workflow. So those two things got crossed, and that's why I was having so many issues, because that workflow wasn't working as properly, and like you said, it didn't even show the history, didn't show anything. So that's one problem; it wasn't working properly. And then I compounded that by testing nano. So there
that
are two things.
workflow was all sorts of screwy. I agree with that.
Yeah. So I now know I can't use nano on what I want to do because there's too much data the way I'm bringing it back. But nano should have worked on the sentence. Like, here's the sentence. There's no calculation.
I think nano, it has more context than the other one. I think
It has a million.
Yeah, you were saying like something like that.
It has a million, yeah. So that's
So
what I was hoping. I was hoping this would work better, but
yeah.
it just can't do the. I guess nano is not as smart as mini.
Yeah, so maybe you can if it's not smart enough, you can give it a prompt, so make it sure that it doesn't work on its intelligence.
I know, but I don't know if you. I had a node that literally just gave text. There was no like data set compilation. Like, it was literally like, "Hi, I found this, and this." Right. So nano wasn't doing any compute.
Maybe it's not production ready for something like that.
Maybe. And so I was saying, I wonder if I tested it on mini before, if some of those other things would have worked consistently. But I've used mini a lot, and it works for what I need. I just won't be able to use nano, unfortunately.
At least not this moment, though.
Yeah, who knows if they'll get better or not? But the price is negligible anyway, 0.74 to 0.76. You guys are always using 4.0 though? You don't find that expensive?
You can switch these up per node too.
No, I know, but you guys, I'm just saying, and you guys, for like, what do you currently use?
Yep, I just run it on 4.
You don't find it too expensive?
Not really. For most of these guys, I mean, unless you're doing like what Alex is doing, right? So he's 15,000 calls. Well, that makes a huge difference between but most of these guys are getting, like, if they get 40, 50, 100 calls a day, I mean, that's,
yeah.
So you got 2 minutes. And so
well, it's good to know this doesn't work. That's too bad though.
It might, depending on,
it doesn't though. Again, I gave it script and it didn't work.
I don't know. I mean, I bet you I can get it to work if you prompt it, right? So you got some stuff running through, but it all depends on.
You can try. Like, you will lose nothing if you prompt it right.
Yeah.
Sure. Are you saying that the prompt? So again, mini has 1 million token context, right?
Actually, if the more tokens, I think it will be more stupid because it has a lot of things to think about.
If it's full. Right?
I don't know, but I think more less context. I think it would be more smarter.
Right, but it doesn't use the whole 1 million tokens if you feed it just a little bit. It only uses what it's got.
In the training phase of the model, I think it used to work on the million context. So it used to work on this big stuff. So it's not trained to work on the small stuff as much as the big stuff. You know, when it's fine tuning.
I don't know if I agree with that, but
that's why
it can handle the 1 million tokens.
Gemini, I think it's the worst because it has 1 million context.
Oh, this sucker.
This is weird. Okay, the flashlight.
I just want to see if it's as bad as Nano. But irregardless, something was messed up because it wouldn't respond. These at least are actually responding, Nano or not. It's saying something.
Plus, you're seeing in the call history.
And you're seeing the call history, yeah.
So that means that
workflow is screwed. Let's see how flashlight does.
It didn't even go.
No, it's gone.
Oh, it is. Okay.
Oh, look, it's performing better than Nano. That's interesting.
Yeah, Omar, what do you use this for? Are you using this for real estate, or what are you running?
Me?
Yeah.
No, I'm not using it for anything. I'm just throwing stuff around.
Ah, playing around. Okay.
If I feel like right now all the tests we've been doing today is that Nano's the only one that fucks up.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see. I haven't even tested
Yeah,
it.
see this one works too.
Let's find out.
So now I've tested flashlight, flash, mini,
But
4.0.
flashlight works. You might as well just stick with flashlight at 3 cents there. I guess what about a haiku?
It won't depend on it. Like
That's 2 cents.
maybe it works this time, but I saw weird things with flashlight.
I've never used flashlight. I've never ever used flashlight.
Yeah, because this is a small context. Maybe when a bigger context, I saw it hallucinate a lot.
GPT 4.1, huh?
I was excited for 4.1 Nano because Gemini 2.0 Flash is decently priced. Look at this shit. Flashlight is working better than 4.1 Nano.
It is. Well, at least it's working, no?
So broken workflow and 4.1 Nano seems to be what the issue is.
Like, to be honest, you can't really judge him based on this small context. Like you need a huge, like a normal agent, like you're gonna use it.
No, yeah, I got to build a big workflow for sure. But just the simple testing, we tested the Nano a bunch, it didn't work. We've tested every other one, it worked.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So that means it's only get worse on Nano will get worse on a bigger.
Yeah, maybe it get better. Like some stuff in benchmark, more context work better. If you look in benchmark of LLMs.
Sure.
Not always. Like I saw some stuff works better in bigger context than the small context. Depends how it gets trained or fine-tuned.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, now that I know it's work, I can build out my actual workflow from scratch. I was trying to get this fine property or the global nodes to work. So
it's real interesting now. I'm going to try it like you are, Omar, just doing a return without actually setting that variable.
Yeah, you don't have to set the variable. Like that's what I'm doing right now.
Yeah. Yep. So
and then
because I think I copied that the one I was working on is I copied it like you did and just messed around with it as a duplicate of something.
Yeah, that's probably a bug then when they duplicate.
You better set it for a variable. Like if you want to use it later again in the conversation, you will need it.
Yeah, I don't need to do that though. I just need to return the results at that time.
Yeah, but here's what you can do: is do they want that thing later on as well or not?
Yeah.
So so I asked, hey, I'm looking for a house. Okay, I like that one. And then, do you want to set that as a variable for later to be used or not?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I'm like 1, 2, 3 Calgary. Hey, I like that house, and then I call back. Now you can have that variable set somewhere, and they could pull that. That's the house.
Even then, if you're setting a variable with multiple properties inside of it. So again, I'll just say what I've done in the past with other models, and even I know you're saying they're different, but even on this one here,
I think you have
very simple. I don't set anything in these ones, and yes, I can use those variables later on because I can say book the first one or book the third one or book the fifth one.
No, the conversation flow is different. It has a different context. Like here, this is all the context is in the single prompt, but in the conversation flow, it doesn't remember the other.
I'm gonna build it. I'm gonna put money that it will still work without the variable. I get from a programming perspective that it makes sense to set the variable, but
no, you only set it if you need it later.
No, I know, but that's what I'm saying is that I think that from a programming point of view, it makes 100% sense. Set the variable, use it later.
No.
Based on the other voice agents I use, not only Retell, Thoughtly, Vappy, 11 Labs, all these different ones, I still think it's gonna work. So I'll build it and I'll test it and I'll let you guys know if I'm wrong.
No, I don't think you'd be wrong. But if you set a variable for something that's like unique, like a first name, you know, that it goes across the whole context.
Yeah, I know. I hear you. What I'm saying is I'm not going to set the variable, and I'll see if it works.
What do you,
Maybe.
what do you set the variable for? What?
Properties.
You don't need to unless
Results.
you need to use it.
Well, you do need to use it later because you're booking appointments.
Yeah, but in the same prompt, right?
No, it's going to be its own global node.
Yeah, but then when it's gonna book, is it gonna book at a different time or at the same time here?
What?
Is it gonna book in this agent, or are you gonna have them call
Yeah,
back?
it'll book in this agent.
Yeah, it's all in the same context. It's gonna have that in here. You're not
What are
gonna
you talking about then? You can set variables and use them in different agents?
Yeah, you could, because that's the other thing. You're building all this thing out inside this, but you can have your booking agent be a whole different thing, and then you set that variable and you pop it over into
Like
that.
using the call transfer?
No, using the agent transfer.
Where's that?
You just transfer.
I don't know.
Okay, yeah. So if you go into the phone, in the phone setting, that's what I'm getting at is the variables, like anything you set, like this property name that you have in here, you're able to use everything that you got because it's got a context of it. Now what happens if you want to take that context and move it out of here? For instance, like if you take a look at the original one that I sent you, right? It's got the variables, plus it had metadata in there. So in that metadata, so the way I do it, I got a super base, right? And then I'm tracking based on the agent ID. It's pulling in other like info based on that agent ID that's calling in.
How do I transfer to another agent though here?
You go into you can do it in N8N. That one, or you can go in the phone. There's a go.
You do a function. You mean you do a function?
You can do it in a function. Go into the phone here real quick. Go into the phone.
Call transfer?
Nope, in the phone. You got to go back in the phone. That's the phone that's associated to this number.
Oh, actually, okay. I tried it right now. It doesn't have the context. Like
you will.
I told him the first node my name is Omar,
and then
and the last node it didn't
remember my name. Outbound call agent, and then you can set where you can add inbound webhook right there. See that little checkbox?
Oops.
Nope, that's a learn more. But there's a checkbox right next to it. Boom. Now you can set, and then you can set up a URL.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like obviously you got to send in stuff from a.
Yeah, but here's what you're doing. You can go in here and set that webhook, and then it goes into another agent. You roll it over.
Like a warm transfer?
Like an agent transfer. It just transfers.
Yeah, but it's a warm transfer. It's not a brand new call.
No, same thing. It's not a warm. It transfers over to that other agent.
How do you trigger that though? If I'm in an agent,
yep.
If I'm in this agent, how do I transfer to another one?
So you have that webhook right over there. So then you can send it over into N8N or hold on. There's a bunch of ways you can do a couple things. You can have to that phone number. You can set it to which agent you want. Like one use case would be like, I want somebody that's already a patient. And I can check that, let's say, by the phone number, right? If the patient phone number is in the system, then I want it to go to that agent. If the patient phone number is not in the
webhook do a transfer though? I don't understand.
So you got one webhook that comes in first off, right? Like you're not going to see it in here because when the call, because you got a one webhook that none of these will fire is going to be that call outbound. It's a outgoing call.
The inbound hook will trigger when you call the agent.
Yeah. When you make a call, so here's what happens. Go to the webhooks. When you make a first call,
so you can capture the phone number of the
yeah. It'll be updated. It'll be here. I can tell you which. Let me pop up my N8N. Oh, where's my notes?
So you're saying I could be on a call. I say
no
node.
No. Before you make, so let's say I'm dialing the phone number, right?
Yeah.
And before it dials,
before you can determine from the phone number where it goes. Yes.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
No. So so you're dialing, and then what happens is it sends a webhook. In N8N, it goes in. Like in my case, it's checking in.
You're determining which agent you want to use. Is what you're saying.
Yeah. Then you tell it what agent, and then you can.
But how do you do a transfer from a webhook? What we're talking about now is not a transfer. It's determining which agent to use.
inside the agent itself, we can set a variable and tell it to transfer this node into the put the transfer node. You know what I mean?
Okay, that was my question. Is it this transfer node? Like how? That's my question. Is how do you transfer? Is it just the
I
transfer?
remember off the top of my head. Yeah.
Yeah,
It is the
the
transfer.
webhook will comes in and it will send a variable, and based on this variable, you will send it to which transfer node you have. Like
Right,
you will
because
have a different
it's set
transfer
as the
node.
metadata, so it'll still pass the metadata.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So
variable.
how do you transfer it to an agent in here?
Yeah, it is this the number with this number.
Oh, so you have to give it a phone number. You can't just transfer
Yeah.
agent to agent without a phone number?
I think there is a way. You'd have to give me one
I
second.
don't. Maybe with the API, I didn't look for it.
I don't remember here.
This is the other one here, that Thoughtly that I was talking about.
Like,
and in here, I can do transfers from. Here I can do transfers agent to agent without a phone number. See? So like I can do it. I can do this transfer in here, but in here, whoops, in here I don't see.
Like it's a call transfer node in the conversation flow.
Yeah, and in here that's why I was asking you guys, because I'm like, I don't see.
This one's going to be Alex. I forgot off the top of my head how to do this.
Okay, because in here I don't see how to transfer to an agent. I see could transfer her number, but that means you have to purchase another number and assign it to a different agent.
I don't remember. You might be able to. There might. I'm just thinking off the top of my head. When you transfer this thing, it should fire that outbound call. And then what happens is then you can go in and that call is going to determine what agent is going to be on the next call that it's coming through. So you might, at the moment, you might have concurrent. I'm just off the top of my head here. I don't remember because I haven't been transferring them that way. So Alex would know exactly how this is done.
If it's number transfer, that makes sense. But again, I'm coming from here. I can actually transfer to a specific agent without another number. So if it's this and it's to a number, that makes sense. And then the metadata, I understand, will pass through.
Yeah.
But
no, the metadata. Yeah. Well, not only that. I mean, you can set those variables. Those variables you can go and set.
Variables and metadata will come through, right?
Yeah. And
but
then
this is different than what I thought you guys were talking about. Because this truly looks like it's only phone number transfers.
Not real time connect user. Let me see here.
Do you have an agent built out with a agent to agent transfer?
No, not yet. I'll be having one. I got a medical one that I need to build out. But basically, it'll be whether the call is a new patient, they're in the CRM, or they're not in the CRM. So then they're going to get a different agent right off the bat, and then
like maybe in the APIs there is endpoint is called update call. Yeah. Maybe here you can update the call with the agent ID, with a different agent ID. I didn't try it, but maybe it works.
Yeah, this is cool for variable use. I don't have this in the other tools I'm using.
The which one?
The if node, basically. This is cool.
I think it's the same as the stuff in the bottom.
Here and here.
Yeah, this stuff. This
can you put variables in there?
Yeah. I use it. I did use it for
okay.
OPD.
That's good. Okay, so that's good. You can put it in here. Do they have? If I don't call a webhook. Oh, so if I don't. I'm guessing this is just normal. If I don't call webhook and it's not a variable. Actually, no, let me think about this. If I have a call and I say pick a number between 1 and 10, can I store that as a variable? Or how do I use that in the future?
What again? I didn't hear.
One more time.
If I have a call, like an incoming call, whatever, right?
Yep.
I say, hey caller, thanks for calling. Pick a number between 1 and 10 or 1 and 100.
Yep.
Is it just in context it knows, or can I set a variable?
You can set it. So what you do is you
can set a variable.
Go in the global settings. So there's a couple ways. In the global set inside, I think it's security or webhook settings or security and fallback setting. Scroll down here. You go to, and you got, nope, it's going to be, set dynamic variables. Yep.
So what do you do here? So you just say,
where's your setting in there?
I don't know. I've never gone in here.
These
Is it
are
not supposed to
default.
look
No,
like
no,
this?
these are default. You gotta go. It's up on top. It's another place. I think
But
it's gonna be in
You want he wants the user that he sets the variables, not us, right?
Yeah, user says I picked 54.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
gonna
it will be normal. It will be another like another conversation node and tell it to set this.
It's going to be, I think it's in the, here's what you do, post call analysis, I think is what you can grab that.
Yeah, but that's after the call. What about if I want to use it in the call? Is it just no because it's in the call context?
Yeah,
and that's going to be, no, you want to
it will
use
be the transition slot actually.
Function for that.
No, I think you can use the transition slots. Like if the user say number 5, go to this node. You know what I mean?
Okay. If the user picked above 50, right, or 40, but what happens if this is like way over here, and I've got tons of nodes in here? Will it still work?
Yeah,
it doesn't matter.
It's a global one.
No,
if
but
it's a global one.
Okay, so what about if let me add clarity. What if I said here, right? First node here was this is getting messy, but pick a number, right? Pick a number, and then they pick a number, and then over here I say pick another number. How do I use both of those differently? Like, do I just say if the caller used over 50 on the first number?
Every node has its own context. Like if it's in the first one, if big above 50, you can translate him into another node. Which one depends on what you want to translate him which node. And the second time, it also will be the same. You know what I mean? Or go over again.
So I can't gather data up front and then action later. I have to do gather information, action flow.
You have to design the flow. Yeah, you don't have
it wouldn't know how to deal with, I guess is what you're saying.
Yeah, unless it's a global node. If it's a global node and you ask him, it will jump into this node. You know what I mean? Actually, you don't have to use two nodes for this. Like make this one global, and when the global context, when the user picks a number, it gets into this node, and depends on the user response, it will translate him into which node you want. Because if you have,
I'm just trying to think if the question is the same.
Like you can
basically all I was trying to say is if we do this, is there a way to say set a variable? That's all I was trying to figure out.
Set a variable? Yeah.
Like could I say set number 1 to the answer? Like would this create a variable or no?
That would create a variable, but
the setting, I don't know. I don't think it will be setting the variable. I think you can translate it into a function, and this function, a custom function that like it retains the nodes that sets this variable later.
Okay, so you'd have to use a custom function.
Yeah,
I usually use the post call analysis. You can set it inside there that you can grab it.
Yeah, but that's post call. I'm talking about if it's within the same call.
But you have to use custom function.
It makes sense. It makes sense that you could do it through a custom function. You would need to then save that data in a temporary place and then pull it back later.
Well, your variable would be the temporary data. That's where you would set it.
Yeah. But that's what I mean is you'd have to do a custom function is probably the only way. Yeah. I was hoping there was like a whatever this. So again, I'll tell you the reason why is on here.
I understand. Maybe later we need a set function.
I can do this extract fields, and then I like a lot of my functions have this where I extract fields, and then I can use that extract field somewhere else. So this one I would say.
Yeah, but this is exactly, it's a variable. That's what.
But it's setting one in the call, Ivan. That's what I'm saying. Is that I was hoping there's a way to do something like this where I say this is this, and I say what is the first number. Number 1, I guess, right?
Yeah.
And then I say, what is the number? What is the number the caller provided? Right? I can say number, and then I can then later, let's say there's 60 different nodes down here, right? It's probably not going to work because I have to connect them. later I can then say later down here, I could say either through a webhook or however I want to do it. I can do it in custom prompt. I could say, actually, I got to call that out.
You can. I think you can do the same there, but it will be more work.
No,
Okay,
you can do
because you got to go external. In here, you
Yeah.
don't have to go external. In here, I just go like this. Go like
This
this.
is it's built-in. It's built-in function.
Exactly. So that's what I was hoping that Retell had something like this as well, because now they answer wherever I put that here.
Yeah.
It sets a variable, and I can use it whether it's way down here or whatever.
Yeah, but look, let's take a look at the real simple one, like first name. It doesn't have your first name, and that's a default one. You can set that as soon as it says, "Hey, what's your name?" Oh, my name's Ivan. Now you can use that variable.
That does work. That does work.
Yeah.
You can say, "What's your name?" here. I'm not talking about this though. Like there are preset ones you can use like that.
Yeah.
Right. And I think
it gets set, but how does that one get set? It gets set when you tell it. So it gets set.
No, there's pre-custom ones like name and stuff like that are kind of predefined that they know it's going to be in here.
Yeah.
But this extract fields allows you to set any variable.
So
any variable.
Yeah, you could do this here. Here's how I would do it in this. You just send that variable that you would need. So like number, pick a number. You would send that in that webhook from N8N in the beginning.
I know. That's what I'm saying though, is that you have to use an external. I'm just trying to understand the limitations of the tool.
Mm-hmm.
In this one, it's built into the actual workflow. In this, we have to use a function.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. Is I'm trying to understand how this tool works so I can use it effectively.
Yeah.
So
it's like a programming language that have an extra library for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or create.
So then when you're calling a webhook, oh no, okay, yeah, never mind. That's fine because you can say. Actually, are you doing that right now, Walmart? If you call a webhook, I guess no, this is how you do it. This is how you do it, actually. You have to do a custom function, then you create the JSON schema here, and it'll pull it out, right?
No, I don't think you need a schema for this one. No, you don't need a schema. You don't get variables. You get variables from outside. You don't send it for outside.
But couldn't you put it in here if you're going to use it for a webhook?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think this
is how you do it.
It asks the user for something like. Yeah, you can also do it with a schema actually.
Yeah. Okay. So that's how they do it here. It's different in the other one. So okay. So that answered my question then. So if you need specific data to use for a webhook, you would do it in here, which makes sense because I did that in this one for the functions where there's more data. Okay. I forgot I had to do this.
Yeah, you have to put them in required.
Yeah. And then so it uses the description for the LLM to determine what that variable is going to be to pass into the webhook.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
You can actually also do it without the schema, but it will not be accurate with like the schema.
Okay, so this is actually probably better than this one because this one it's defined, and this one I have to pull it out.
Yeah, like this will give you free. You do whatever you want.
Yeah. This is probably better. Yeah, this is cool. Okay.
Just more work than the other one.
Initial setup, yeah, correct. But I actually think now that we're talking, I think I like this better. Like, because it's very structured. Because in here, and I've done it, they have really shitty names. Like, look at the variable. So it doesn't autofill. So you can
the other one may give you more freedom, like because for example, if you want to go fetch something else, depends on another thing from the database based on the user given. This give you more freedom.
Yeah, I like this better. Now this is good. Okay, so that's how I do it same in here. Okay, It's making more sense. Sorry, I'm just really trying to figure out how I can build my current workflows in this tool. Cool. So Omar, you're not using it at all. You're just kind of screwing around.
Yeah, like till now. Yeah.
Well, anyways, thanks for debugging with me.
No problem.
Fucking Nano, hey? First time using flashlight though, like that's kind of weird.
Yeah, I'm warning you. Don't depend on it. Like.
No, I know. I want to do some testing with though. It's so cheap.
Yeah, it's so cheap. I tried it. Like I tried it with a solar agent just for testing. It gave me like weird stuff. Like especially in voice. In voice, like it in text you don't realize the difference. But in voice, when ask a question, it asks like 2-3 questions at the same time.
Yeah, I've normally only used GPT-4o Mini, but have you tried 2.0 Flash?
I think it's not the same quality as for GPT-4. Actually, the one I tried was a different platform. Was actually very good. Was the Grok? Not the
Grok, really? I've heard people tell
the Grok for the Twitter one because there is 2 Grok.
Not Twitter one.
There is 2 Grok. There's two LLM called Grok.
That's dumb.
Did you use the Twitter one or not the Twitter one?
The Twitter one. The Twitter one is that I mean. It actually was good. It was very good.
I stayed away from Grok just because of the Twitter one, but maybe I'll try it. Yeah. Anyway, it's cool that they added this so quickly.
Yeah. I
Can
was
you
trying
use
to figure out how to add a custom LLM, but it looks very complex.
What is this? Look at this. Oh fuck! I didn't even know that these were in here.
Yeah, you have to add higher priority, but it will cost more.
Oh, look at this. I wonder if this will
structured output to return output in JSON.
Yeah, but all my stuff's in JSON, so I wonder if that'll
change it up.
In JSON inside the context, not for you. Inside the context, so it will be better for the LLM to understand.
Yeah,
not for you.
Is this the one I built? Where's my? Oh yeah. Did I put 4.0 nano?
And actually, you can make higher priority, so if it can answer faster, it will cost more money.
Yeah, because nano is fast. That's why I was hoping that I could use that nano because it's cheap and it's like the latency is real quick.
Maybe if you give it like assertive prompting, like so it can compensate its intelligent, you know.
It still fucks up. But again, before I gave it, I know you're here. I know what you're saying, and I agree with you. But before I gave it, like literally say these words.
Yeah, because it's cheap. You have to work more so it compensate this as a price.
For lower, more consistent latencies. Oh, higher cost.
All right, boys.
Yeah, have a good one.
Yeah, later, guys.
Thanks for helping me debug.
Anytime, man. Adios.
Yeah.
Okay, adios.
Okay. See ya, Omar.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I changed some of my NA then to use nano. I got to double check that. Yeah, see, nano sucks. Okay, very cool. All right, thank you very much.
Yeah. Okay.
Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.